But I think the development of full artificial intelligence will spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
I don't know whether rockets or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. They were too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
You said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please, please help!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, 0,
doesn't have your best interest in mind. The government is self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. And let's check to make sure I didn't mute myself. Ha ha! I think I pushed all the right buttons tonight. And hello to all of you who might also have troubled minds. This show is live. If you want to be part of the show tonight, the number to call is this, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can also join the Discord by going to troubledminds.org. That's the official website. Phone number is right on top. Discord link is right on top. Excuse the other broken links on the site. The important things work right now, but you can find everything you need at troubledminds.org regarding this show. And what is this show about? You know what it's about. It's about aliens. It's about conspiracy. It's about the paranormal. It's about the government. It's about academia. It's about the 24-hour news cycle. And, of course, propaganda and how we live in a post-truth world. And it certainly seems like we live in the upside down, does it not? I think the more you start to become aware, self-aware of the things around you, many of us are past that initial discovery, but it sure seems like a lot of the institutions and a lot of the things they tell us seem to really be part of that upside down business. So that's what the show's about. That's what we talk about. We kind of touch on all the things that many people do not. And, you know, as you see, there are headlines about all kinds of things, right? About the pandemic, about what the CDC says, what the WHO says, all this other stuff. This show is not about any of those things, right? It's not about the political game that they play back and forth where they're lying to you and they're lying to me. It's not about any of those things, right? It's about sometimes, once in a while, we'll squeak in something like that. But for the most part, you know, let the mainstream media cover that stuff with all their what do you call it? Fear porn, with all their lying propaganda to keep people afraid of just living life and being human. That's not what this show's about. The show's about the opposite of what the mainstream media is trying to do. So it is called Troubled Minds, of course, and as part of that, like it's not a negative thing. I pointed this out last night. I want to make it clear to folks that really, you know, are used to conspiracy theorist types that that just want to kind of doom and gloom and fear porn their way into your heart, right? By just kind of pouring on another level of fear. And that's not what this is about. Having a troubled mind, in my opinion, is good, meaning that not of course, not the negative connotation to that, actually having like a mental disorder or something like that, nothing like that. Just being aware of the world around you and the things that are happening and the propaganda and everything else. It's a good thing. It's if you're aware, it makes you a more engaged and knowledgeable citizen. And like I said, I just want to be clear that this is not a doom and gloom show. This is a show that we talk about these things because I have hope for the future of humanity. It's not about any of those other things. So just kind of ironing that wrinkle out. Sometimes people get the wrong idea about this, and this is not what we're here trying to do. So we are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and DLive. We are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. And as I said, if you want to be part of the show at any point tonight, you can give us a call at 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. And you can be part of the show and let us know what you think. So tonight, what we're talking about is there's a lot of interesting news I'm not going to say out of Mars, coming out of the news cycle, and it's not really. I don't know. I'll let you decide. Like, it seems like a lot of things are happening on Mars right now. Okay, like we have, of course, Elon Musk talking about colonizing Mars in 2024, which we're going to talk about a little bit as we go tonight. And of course, there's a Chinese lander going to put down a lander and a rover in the same maneuver tomorrow as well, Friday. And of course, we have the helicopter on Mars that we've talked about in the past, but kind of haven't really followed up on. So we're going to do a little bit of that tonight. So really, we're talking about Mars tonight and kind of all the updates and, really the overall vision that maybe Elon Musk has. I don't know if anybody saw his Saturday Night Live appearance and some of those skits. I think they were funny. Some of them were funny. Some of them were stupid, as usual, right? But it was pretty good. There was one in particular, one skit that he did where he was like the commander of a Mars colony, right? And of course, in Saturday Night Live fashion, they had to make it goofball, and it was a little bit goofball, but it was funny. I actually laughed. You know how when people say in the you say in the internet age, you say LOL, right? Most times people don't really laugh. It's just like an exaggerated way to tell them, that's a funny thing, right? No. Well, during that skit, the Elon Musk skit, I actually laughed on Saturday Night Live. It was an actual LOL. So, which doesn't happen often because, well, I'm a cynical punk. But it did make me laugh. I thought it was a pretty funny skit. If you guys haven't seen some of those things, they are definitely worth watching if you have not. Okay, so with that said, like I said, a lot of the news coming out of the news cycle about Mars and the Ingenuity helicopter and the Perseverance rover, and this Tianwen-2 is what it's called. That's going to be landing tomorrow on Mars, supposedly from China. And so lots of things. And then, of course, we'll start with Elon because good old Commander Elon, Master Elon, right, is what they call him from the old book of that Werner von Braun wrote, right? Master Elon, that's going to send people to Mars by 2024. Let's start there. And here's an interesting thing, right? So I didn't know this. Well, I only knew partially a little bit about this, but we're going to discuss a little bit in depth about this tonight. But did you know this, that there is a protocol in place in case like an astronaut actually finds or actually encounters an extraterrestrial, right? There's an actual like thing that's done. That's supposed to be done, right? And they don't have to contact the president or anything else. It's kind of in this international treaty, which we'll get to in a little bit. But let's go to this first. Let's go to I'm dropping the links out there, of course, as I always do. You guys can follow up on me and see my my actual sources. I appreciate you checking out my sources because, again, this is not a this is not me just coming in here hip fire and making up a bunch of stuff. Okay, sometimes you do because you don't have the source quick at hand and you go the best you can from memory. But it is important to me that you guys notice where I'm getting this information from. If you want to follow up, if you want to read some of it, if you want to do any of that. So just throwing that out there. You've got all my links all the time. You can, if you want to track down something that I talked about in the past, just go to one of our archives and right there on YouTube, also on the podcast, or also on Twitch. You can find all of the links that we use kind of just dropped underneath in the description. Okay, so anyway, before we get started here real quick, there's the link I'm going to be talking about. This is from Teslarati.com, and they're discussing SpaceX and landing a Starship on Mars in 2024, okay? So before we do that, I just want to make sure, shout this out one more time. This is live, so at any point tonight, if you want to be part of the show, and I want to get your thoughts on this Mars mission, on Elon Musk, and what's actually happening with this, and how do you feel about it? Do you think it's a bunch of propaganda? Do you think it's Elon trying to pump up his stock prices, or do you think it's actually legitimate and he's dead serious about putting people on Mars? And of course, if you want to be a part of that and have a part of this conversation and comment on any of those things or anything else really, just give me a call, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can also join the show on Discord, and you can find the Discord link and the phone number at troubledminds.org. That's the official website. All right, let's go to this article. Teslarati.com. Headline reads this: SpaceX could land Starship on Mars in 2024, says Elon Musk. Okay, 4 years after Elon Musk revealed aspirational plans to launch starships to Mars in 2022, the SpaceX CEO now believes that 2024 is a more accurate target. For SpaceX, that 2-year delay is more impressive than anything, given that the company practically restarted Starship development from scratch a year after Musk set out the 2022 target. In late 2018, after more than 2 years of work developing a Starship, then named the BFR, of course, just like it sounds, the big effing rocket, right, as he joked it was called. So they were developing that in 2018, built out of carbon fiber composites. The CEO revealed that the company was going to completely redesign the rocket to use steel for all major structures. 2.5 years after that decision, SpaceX has built a vast Starship factory capable of building at least one ship per month, cumulatively fired dozens. Is that right? Cumulatively? Yeah, fired dozens on a full-scale Raptor engines for more than 30,000 seconds. Flown 8 full-scale prototypes and recovered the first full-size Starship in one piece after a high-altitude launch and belly flop-style descent and landing. So they're doing this. He's working on this. And, there's people out there, and every time they launch something, of course, it gets headlines, right? And you can watch some of these things happen live and all the rest of this, right? Well, as I'm kind of thinking about this, and a lot of this news is coming out of Mars. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention recently this week that more news out of Mars. So not just do we have the helicopter on Mars, the Perseverance rover, the Ingenuity helicopter, we have China landing a rover and a lander tomorrow on Mars. And this week we also had news of life on Mars. If you guys saw this paper, there was an actual paper. We'll talk a little bit about that tonight as well, where somebody describes actual fungus or some sort of mold growing on the actual lander, the rover, I'm sorry, one of the Mars rovers, and says they have proof of this with some of the photographs. So, like I said, there's a lot going on coming out of the news cycle regarding Mars, and it kind of got me thinking about what happens. So, okay, so let's say this. Now, let's just hypothetically speaking, because of course, regarding life on Mars, speaking of these maybe funguses or mold spores or whatever the heck is going on up there, whatever they say is happening. A lot of people believe there is life on Mars. Maybe not currently. People maybe believe there was life on Mars in the past. People believe maybe there's microbial life now. Other people believe there's full-on little green men on Mars, right? So let's just go with that. We're going to go with like some sort of intelligent creature alive on Mars, all right? So what happens in that case when Elon Musk goes up there in 2024 They do their landing, they build their colony, let's say a year or two later, and eventually the life that's actually on Mars, the intelligent life, comes to him and asks a question, whatever that question is, or tries to communicate in some way. What is the protocol? So it kind of got me thinking, right? So of course, there's going to be a lot to really worry about before this actually happens, if we're really talking about landing on Mars, because, building a colony up there, and people could be dying of radiation sickness and all kinds of terrible things, right? So there's probably a lot more considerations before this, but this is troubled minds after all. So as a result, let's kind of skip that. Let's call that successful, and then in our mind's eye, wonder what it would look like if intelligent life somehow tried to contact like a brand new colony on Mars, and with Elon, of course, up there as the ambassador or the leader, or what would you call him? What would you call him? I have no idea what you would even call him. The Master Elon, or whatever the term would be. But okay, so anyway, I was looking into it, and apparently, yes, this is true. There is let's see, where is it? There's an actual outer space treaty that's with actual outlines for this. So meaning that if Elon lands up there, right, and creates a successful colony and all the rest of this stuff, there's an actual international treaty that has been around since, when is this? I think this was done in 1967. So there's an international space treaty that's been around since 1967, and it has a bunch of stipulations, and it includes what to do if you contact an alien, right? An actual flesh and blood, intelligent alien creature. All right, I say flesh and blood, because what else? I mean, what else is there, right? It may not be that at all, but you kind of get the point. But here we go. So interestingly, here's this outer space treaty, and it goes something like this. So against the background of NASA's Artemis program, SpaceX and other private companies' race to Mars, and where we may be headed with Space Force, certain questions come to light. And this is what kind of got me thinking about this. I was like, wait a minute now. If Elon's up there and he meets this proverbial or imaginary, like I said, we're just kind of stepping out of the realm of reality right now, and kind of wondering what would happen in this case, okay? So Elon makes it to Mars, and then he ends up meeting this extraterrestrial race, okay? Let's say that happens up on Mars. Now, check this out. So here's some questions that come to light with private companies heading to Mars. One, is there a law in space? All right, interesting. Who owns the moon, and who will own Mars? Can private companies mine asteroids, and can we put weapons in space? And that's really kind of what got me thinking about this. I was like, hold on. First, I was thinking, okay, so if Elon gets to Mars first, does that mean he's like the president or the king or the monarch, or right, whatever it happens to be? Is he all of those things, or is there something in place where he kind of is not? So here's a quick rundown of what some of this actual the treaty is. It's actually called, I'm going to link the actual the full document if you guys want to check this out. It's pretty interesting to read if you want the full read. As always, like I said, if you want to check out my sources, you got them. I'm linking them in all the chats right now. But yeah, so there's actually there's some rules that have been set out, and some things are allowed, some things are not allowed, and we'll get to that in just a sec. We'll read a quick outline of this. But here's the actual treaty itself. I just linked that. All right, so let's go back to the outline real quick. All right, so this is the thing. So the first thing, here's the main points of this actual international space treaty that was put out in 1967, okay? Number one, weapons in space. No military maneuvers or military bases, installations, or fortresses are permitted on the moon or other celestial bodies, which are limited to peaceful purposes only. Military activities and conventional weapons are not prohibited in orbit. Space Force, therefore, can legally establish a military presence in orbit within the treaty framework. Keep in mind that conventional weapons can still be extremely destructive, such as kinetic bombardment, which we talked about, of course, with the hypersonic weapons and those things that they're using. That would be a kinetic weapon, just the pure force of the impact without any sort of warhead at all. Just boom, like smack a heavy object into another object and you get a big explosion regardless. So here we go. And then no weapons testing on the moon or other celestial bodies. Okay. All right. So that's the first one. No weapons in space. Okay. No weaponization of space. You can't build military bases. And again, this is an international treaty agreed upon by, I'm going to say all, air quotes, all, in 1967. Number 2, space is free for exploration and use by all nations, and exploration should benefit mankind. All right, interesting. So here we go. So some bullet points from here. No nation can block another nation from launching into space. Again, part of this agreement from 1967. 2, exploration and usage of space should be approached in a way that doesn't just benefit the nation running the mission. Hear that again? I'm going to say that slowly. Exploration and usage of space should be approached in a way that doesn't just benefit the nation running the mission. All right? And then it continues here. Most importantly, no nation shall claim sovereignty of outer space or any celestial body. Which means, of course, the moon or Mars doesn't belong to anybody. And so here we go, right? More struggle for resources in space. Here we go. 3, lunar and asteroid mining regulations. Now, the part of this treaty is deemed ambiguous and incomplete. The language around lunar and asteroid mining is unclear whether resource extraction is deemed appropriation or commercial usage. Private companies lobbied the Obama administration to legalize space mining to bring about the U.S. Commercial Space Launch Competitiveness Act of 2015. Say that 3 times fast. Competitiveness Act, the U.S. Commercial Space Launch Competitiveness Act of 2015. Other countries are introducing similar laws to allow the mining of celestial objects for profit. 4. Now, here we go. This is exactly what I was talking about. If Elon Musk runs into entities on Mars, check this out. Number 4, astronauts are regarded as the envoys of mankind. This means that if an astronaut of any nation happens to run into a UFO and establish communications with an alien civilization, they should represent mankind rather than a specific spacefaring nation, such as the U.S., Russia, or China. What? There you go. So Master Elon may become Master Alien Elon if he's if he's in charge of the colony up there, and they end up encountering extraterrestrial entities. Okay, so interesting. So kind of some of these questions were crossing my mind as I was thinking about how it's going to look as Elon Musk does establish this colony on Mars. Again, he's shooting for 2024 and trying to do these things, but there's a lot of kind of ambiguity with how you should conduct yourself, right? If nobody's actually created a colony on Mars, then what would be the rules? And here they are. Here's the rules. So there's just a couple more bullet points. States are responsible for national space activities. The U.S., for example, is not just politically responsible for NASA, Space Force, and its official space government programs. It also holds responsibility for the actions in space of private companies, including SpaceX, and even for private hobbyists who might launch a homemade rocket from their backyard. Interesting. So now we have the government being responsible for private entities. Interesting. And number 6, bullet point of this actual treaty that was signed in 1967 of how we manage outer space. Number 6, states should avoid harmful contamination of space and celestial bodies. And of course, that right there is self-explanatory. I don't need to go into that. But anyway, that's what we're talking about tonight, right? There's a whole lot here, a lot of good stuff that really kind of fits into really what's happening with the interesting times we live in. 2024, Elon Musk says he's going to space. He's going to bring a colony to Mars, and, apparently there are rules in place. There are guidelines, there are frameworks of how he should conduct himself that were agreed upon internationally in 1967. That's what we're talking about tonight. Do you think people will abide by this, or do you think the space race is on to see who owns Mars? More Mars news, more great conversation. Don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick break. I'm Michael Strange. This is Troubled Minds, 702-957-1037, and we will be right back. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we are streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and DLive. We are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. We're taking your phone calls tonight. If you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can also join the Discord. Both the phone number and Discord are at troubledminds.org, the official website. Tonight, we are discussing what happens when Elon Musk goes to Mars and, let's say hypothetically, he meets intelligent life. Well, apparently there's a treaty signed in 1967, an international treaty that actually has a stipulation there. And apparently, he doesn't have to get permission from anybody. He can actually act as an ambassador of humanity. And so here we go. So astronauts, this is again a bullet point from that Outer Space Treaty of 1967. Astronauts are regarded as the envoys of mankind, which means that if an astronaut of any nation happens to run into alien life and establish communications with said civilization, they should represent mankind rather than a specific spacefaring nation such as U.S., Russia, or China. Interesting thoughts, eh? Interesting thoughts. So there you go. So Master Elon, well, I hope you have a good day when you're talking to the aliens as it happens. All right, we got a couple phone calls. We're going to go to this, and then we're still talking about this. We're doing our thing, and let's see what the phone calls have to bring. What's up, Joe in Florida? You're on Troubled Minds with Mike. How are you, my friend?
Not too bad. I figured I'd break the ice. You're asking for calls.
Appreciate it.
I've been trying to hold back lately, but no, I mean, if he goes there, I think, if there was life there, I guess if there was like intelligent life there already, I think we would know about it, and maybe we'll know about it if this gets pushed back. Okay, but I don't see any reason why he couldn't do it in 2024, acting as private industry, obviously using taxpayer money to a large extent. The reason why I say that, and I usually preface things with an example of this would be the Chinese are really catching up quite quickly in the last decade because they don't have to go through the red tape that NASA's had to go through, cutbacks, this, that, the other thing. They make a decision, and they go. We may not always agree with it, but as far as it comes to space and maybe things outside of their border, the Chinese are doing real well at that. Privateers like Elon Musk, more power to him. I think he could do it in 2 years just because he could cut through the red tape that public oversight, I guess, brings with that. If I worded that right. What's he going to find there? I kind of personally feel he's probably going to find ruins. I'm not going to say relics because I don't know that anything's going to be worth anything there, I guess, but I have a feeling he's probably going to find some stuff there. Going back to what I had mentioned, is if anybody here in the audience has seen The Expanse. It's a series of books, but the show on Amazon does real well, and it's in our future. There's no like warp drive or anything like that. It's just rocket based, pretty scientific, and basically Mars is a breakaway nation from Earth. They attack Earth with stealth technology, and what they find out is that there's privateers that are running around doing experiments, and not everybody in the government knows. So, you might have like the CIA version of Mars doing some covert ops, and it kind of gets out of control. The weapons that they have get out of control, and it's the evolution of it. It's a good look at what might occur in the future if men and women and whatever you identify as can make it out into space en masse and settle space all the way from Mars to Jupiter. They go to in the series. It's an excellent series. It's like a big space soap opera, but a lot of the scientific, physics involved in it are pretty realistic. From G-force and from how they have to protect themselves from G's and acceleration. What happens in space? What happens with inertial weapons because they don't use lasers or anything like that. There is debris that puts holes in spaceships. And the other interesting thing is the computers and the AI and the algorithms in the show are so far advanced that they can tell you who's going to win a battle by what's going to be in range, and what damage you're going to take and what the probability of victory is going to be. So, that's probably like 200 years in the future, which I have no doubt I think we can do. And I think that whether we agree with Elon Musk or not, I don't think we're going to have a choice in the matter. And I'd rather place my bets behind him going into space than some rogue nation.
It's still
though. Intelligent life? I don't know.
Yeah, that's the question, right? So, okay, but hold on. So you're correct there. Let's say Elon Musk is the contact, but let's say because of the treaty, the 1967 space treaty here, is not necessarily binding to the leader of that colony. So what if, let's say you go up there and you're on Mars and you're doing your job, whatever, you're mining some rocks or doing some scientific this or growing some crops or whatever it is, and you're the guy in contact with aliens, right? So basically they're saying whoever first comes into contact becomes the envoy for Earth. So that's a little bit scary, right? Like I said, let's just hope whoever, in the case of that, whoever that happens to be has a good day when that happens, because go ahead. Sorry.
Well, they might be the envoy, but I look at it like this: how many cartoons do we see when an alien lands here and they're like, "Take me to your leader"? You would think that, if there's intelligent life out there, they're already looking at us. So if they just meet somebody off planet, they might say, "Hey, look, you made it, but you're still probably not the best representation, or none of you are the best representation of your planet." I don't think it might be a big ego trip for whoever's going to make that contact. But on the other end of it, do you think the aliens are really going to care or pay attention to whoever that is? It's there.
Probably not. Probably not. To them, it's just another part of the hive mind or whatever. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like a high. And then, and then the other thing is this: if Stephen Hawking's right, we might need to be putting our tail between our legs and getting the hell back because we don't know what's coming for us.
Exactly.
We might be messing with something we don't need to be messing with.
Well, exactly, and that's kind of why I stated that way. So imagine if you're feeling a little bit chippy that day for whatever reason, and you end up maybe sparking off an interstellar war. You know what I'm saying? By you having a bad attitude on day one. That's kind of what I'm saying.
That's it. But Mars attacks. Mars attacks. Don't forget what Europeans hear about this, whatever. I'm not going to rewrite history, but when we came to the North American continent, and for Christ's sake, to South America and the Caribbean and everything else, what did we bring with us? How were we viewed? How were we viewed? And then, all those settlers came here, and they might have been an envoy to the Native Americans, but eventually they had to go back to their respective countries for supplies. And then, the rest of the train, the rest of the ships came over here in the name of religion, freedom, whatever the hell you want to call it, manifest destiny. We all came here. I made the joke in chat. If they find oil on Mars, how quickly do you think we're going to be there?
That's true. They might tell us to straight up leave. Get out of here. Go. Don't take me to your leader. You go back to him and don't come back here. Yeah, there's some people have whispered that that's what happened on the moon, and that's why we haven't gone back in 60 years or whatever, is because they say some ham radio operators on Earth actually caught a a private communication between the astronauts that were up there that said they saw spaceships on the rim, and they were being watched when they landed on the moon. So interesting there that maybe that was the case already.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I think maybe there's some truth to it. Maybe they're not living, maybe they are living on the moon, because we know what the moon is. This is a side conversation, but the moon rang like a bell. It's in perfect orbit. There's plenty of evidence of that. And then here's the thing. What happens if they lived on Mars? I mean, I think one of the moons around Mars has the same kind of metallic or hollowness. And there's a moon there that is small and whatever, but let's just say that these aliens are maybe our creators or progenitors, whatever, and they moved us from a failed experiment on Mars. What happens if the flood was on Mars and the Ark ended up here? We don't know any of that. And they're on this moon, and it's a copy of the experiment. It's Earth 2.0. Mars was 0.1. Who knows? But I tend to believe that if there was helium-3 and all those things on the moon, why would we have stopped going there? Especially when it was relatively close and the closest thing we can land on. Why would we have stopped going there? Why are we not still putting men on the moon? Unless we never did to begin with. I'm not a proponent of that, but either we never did to begin with, or we did and something happened and we're not back. Because here's the thing. Wouldn't you still be using that as a test site for astronauts? Wouldn't you still be doing that as a test site? If we would not have stopped, if we would have kept doing that, we probably would have had a base on the moon by now, and would have been able to we probably would be on Mars by now with a man human. But we stopped that. So it's a very good point. It makes you say, what's going on? So
exactly.
Anyway, that's my 2 cents.
I appreciate it, my friend. Thank you. Thanks again.
Anybody else wants to call in there? Let's get some calls. Everything's been going well. I've been enjoying the last few shows, so thank you, and good night.
Appreciate it, my man. We got a call right behind you. That's Joe from Florida, a longtime friend of the show. Appreciate you. Thanks for calling. God bless you and the family. We'll talk to you soon. All right. Apparently, we've got Jack from YouTube. I think this is Jack from YouTube. Let's go to Jack. I think that says he's on deck. Is this Jack on YouTube? Test 1 2. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you fine. Who am I speaking with?
Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
I hear you fine. Okay. What's your first name and where are you calling
Derek.
from? Derek.
I used to call up as Derek.
Derek,
hello.
What's up, my man? What's up? How are you?
My name is Derek.
Derek, what's up, Derek? I'm sorry. Somebody in the chat said they were on deck.
Usually you hear Derek when I call up, so I don't even. Well, yeah, the first time I called as Jack, but you thought I said Derek, so now when I call, I just say I'm Derek.
Okay. Jack, Derek, I got you. All right.
That makes any sense.
That's all good. Go right ahead, sir. What's on your mind tonight?
Okay, well, hey, I got to tell you, I watched SNL recently, and the one thing that people aren't talking about that Elon actually brought up during one of the skits was the fact that he has a machine where he can tunnel down into the earth, and he can explore underneath cities and stuff with this machine that he's got supposedly. And it's something that he did bring up just kind of half jokingly or whatever. It's like, I keep thinking, everybody's got their sights set on the stars and on the planets and everything else. It's like, well, what's going on underneath us? And, we keep hearing those booms and kind of strange things underneath the earth. It's like no one's really talking about that kind of stuff. So that's kind of where my spidey sense goes up and is like, okay, why did he bring that up on this episode? And then, why is this in the midst of all this space talk? You know what I'm saying? So it's just something to think about.
That's a good point. So he has a actual company called the Boring Company, just like it sounds like.
I don't know if you heard me, but
yeah, I heard you. So he's got a company called the Boring Company, and so he actually recently they did an actual like underground tunnel here in Las Vegas, underneath the convention center, and apparently it happened in maybe 9 months' time. They were able to tunnel underneath the convention center and create this entire hyperloop, they're calling it, I think. And there's videos of this it's run. It's like this tunnel. It's only enough room for one car, And they're, it's run by these the Teslas, the self-driving Teslas. So you're supposed to go down this escalator into this kind of hyperloop tunnel, and it's supposed to ease traffic congestion and all kinds of stuff. Yeah. So we'll see. It's basically in a beta test right now, and there is a video of a car driving through this tunnel underneath Las Vegas for real. I saw it in the last probably 10 days, 2 weeks. So this is brand new, and so this is the type of thing he's talking about. And you're correct, with all the talk in the past of these underground bases and things. Now, the technology clearly is there because he's doing it here. He's doing it on Earth. But that's a hell of a question, man. With all the weird sounds and things happening, maybe it is related. I didn't even think of that. Didn't even think of that.
I was also going to bring up quick before I got to get ready for work. The last caller, he was bringing up the Native Americans, too, and I was thinking, didn't the Native Americans supposedly have a problem because they couldn't fight against the infectious diseases that the people that were coming over to colonize came over with or whatever, and they got infected because they had, smallpox or whatever else. And I was thinking, you're talking about having a fungus on Mars or whatever, supposedly. It's is that something we really want to experiment with or bring back to Earth? It's there's no telling what that could do. And we just went through this whole situation last year over something that was, on the Earth. Do we need to bring over some kind of experimental fungus or stuff from other planets to experiment on them? I'm kind of worried about that, too. So
exactly. Of course not.
That's just something I want to bring up before I get off the line.
Okay. I appreciate it, man. You got to go. You said you got to go to work.
Thanks, Mike. Have a great night. I'm sorry. I got to go.
That's okay.
Thank you. I'll be listening.
Okay, thanks for the call. Appreciate it, my man. That's Jack apparently, but I've been calling him Derek. You see, it's all good. You can call me Mike. You can call me James or Jimmy or Billy or Mac or Buddy. It's all good. My name's Mike, but there you go. I appreciate the call, Jack. All right. So good points there. So not only interestingly, right? I didn't even think of this that. Basically, I think if we're going to find actual life on Mars, right, it's probably going to be underground, right? Because as far as what we know, we have we have these the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter that have been taking photographs of the surface of Mars for years and years, and so we know quite a lot about the surface of Mars, at least as photographically. But there's still questions of water content, the methane that kind of comes and goes in cycles. There's all kinds of things that suggest there is life there. But if it's there, of course, it's probably not going to be just hanging out on the surface. It's probably going to be underground. And so notably, I didn't even think of that, is that not only does Elon Musk have the Tesla, the electric cars, he's got SpaceX as a company which is building rockets and going to go to Mars and these types of things. He's got this company called the Boring Company, and they're actually digging holes underground to do to kind of build roads basically underground, and tunnels. I mean. Underground to kind of ease traffic congestion. And he was talking about doing it in Los Angeles, right, of all places, one of the most traffic congested places in the country. So and he did. So Las Vegas here, I live in Vegas for those that don't know, they hired him, the city hired him to build this hyperloop is what they're calling it. And it's right here, right in Las Vegas at the convention center. And so apparently, I'm not sure if it's going to be operational later this year. We're just getting past the whole pandemic thing, right, where you're starting to get people going back outside and all this other stuff, right? So I think that the actual convention center is going to start holding conventions again, which they've all been canceled, as everybody knows. But if that's the case, then this hyperloop is going to be back in actually starting to work recently, coming up soon, which is good, which is a good thing to me, because if anybody knows what it looks like down there when they have a big conference and the traffic just becomes a disaster. So maybe this is the future. And so imagine, though, he takes this Boring Company to Mars, and so they start digging underground. And we have, if anybody's familiar with the Phil Schneider story, right? The Phil Schneider story? Where they supposedly were doing the deep underground bases, military bases, the DUMBS, Deep Underground Military Base. And Phil Schneider said, now he's passed away, but he said he was a whistleblower and that they were digging holes to these deep underground military bases, and they kind of cracked into a cavern, like a big open cavern. And he said, interestingly, that we're talking about the same subject, of course, that they ended up seeing some aliens down there. Like they cracked into an alien base inadvertently and ended up in some sort of firefight with aliens. Again, right? Like Phil Schneider, believe him or not, but that's as the story goes. That's what he said. We did a show on that a long time ago. We'll probably bring it up from time to time because, right, the guy ended up dead under kind of suspicious circumstances. So who knows? Who knows? Again, like I said, this is not the answer show. This is the question show. What do you think? Do you think that Elon Musk is when he gets to Mars? Let's say when. Of course, barring anything catastrophic, and they build this colony, if they're contacted by these alien, whatever they are up there, alien entities, do you think he's capable of representing the human race or whoever else might be? Let's say Joe from Florida was up there building a space garden and is approached by E.T. Geez. Yeah, that's the deal. That's what we're talking about tonight, that there's an international space treaty that kind of dictates these things. And so not only is that part of the conversation tonight, is that I think that, it was written in 1967. All right. This is when this international space treaty was kind of put forward and agreed upon by the powers that be. I think it's probably time for an update. Being that, we have actual like private space entities kind of heading toward the moon and Mars and beyond. So interesting that we from 1967 to now, things have changed entirely. And good stuff. Good to think about. Good to talk about. Looking to hear from you guys. A couple great calls to kick us off. I appreciate that, Jack, and that would be Joe. Thanks again for the calls. Looking to hear from you. If you can hear me right now, I'm talking to you. I'd love to hear your take on this. What do you think about Elon Musk and his colony on Mars that's supposed to happen in 2024? And what do you think about this international space treaty that dictates basically that the first person, right, regardless of affiliation of party or country or anything, the first person to come into contact with extraterrestrials becomes the envoy for humanity? A little weird, right? I think that's a little weird, but it is what it is, right? You can't wait for minutes or dozens of minutes to get communications back and forth from Mars to, well, excuse me, Mr. Alien, let me call and get authorization to say hello. So it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Anyway, what do you think about this stuff? That was Derek. What's up, Richard? Derek, Jack. All good. I appreciate it. All right. So looking to hear from you guys. If you can hear me right now, you're next. You're on deck. Give me a call. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. And there's more Mars news. We're going to get to some more Mars news after the break here. Lots of stuff to talk about. Lots of exciting things happening in the space race and all the rest of this. So, what are your thoughts on all this stuff? And the helicopter on Mars. They got the Chinese landing on Mars tomorrow. Just this past week, we had somebody put out a scientific paper saying there's fungus on Mars. Tons and tons of stuff, right? Mars. I'm cruising through the news today, and I'm like, man, what am I going to do this show on? And like everything I see is Mars. It's like, all right. I guess the universe is begging me. It's like, all right, let's talk about Mars. Mars it is. That's what's on deck tonight. That's what we're talking about. Once again, if you want to be part of the show, this is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. The number to call is 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Give us a call, and we'll talk about the space race, the space treaty of 1967, and all the rest of this good stuff. Having a good time so far. I appreciate the calls. Looking for more. 702-957-1037. Don't go anywhere. More talk about Elon Musk, the colony on Mars, extraterrestrials, the space treaty of 1967, and more Mars news after the break. Be right back.
Secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. And hello to all of you who might also have troubled minds. This show is about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. You know what those things are. Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle. What's the rest? Propaganda, and the overall feeling that we live in the upside down. We are streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and DLive. We are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. If you want to be part of the show tonight at any point, give us a call at 702-957-1037. That is 702-957-1037. You can also join the Discord, which is a chat and a voice client, and you can be on the show that way if you don't like the 702 area code, which is from and out of Las Vegas. So our international types can use Discord. It's a free voice and chat client, and as long as you have an internet connection, it is 100% free. So there you go. Everybody's covered the world over, and we have people listening all over the world, which again, I appreciate that quite a lot. Thank you for all the support, guys. Thank you for all the great chat and the platforms we're streaming on, which of course is DLive, Facebook, and YouTube. Like I said, we're actually also watching the Discord on FM, Fringe FM, and also on Troubled Minds Discord as well. Join us there. Come say hi, and it's all good. It's all good. So let's see. Richard says, tried to phone in, Mike. You have called an incorrect number. I'm in the UK. I think the country code, you got to do the country code should be 1 and then... Wait, is it, whatever you do to call the United States from there. So 702-957-1037, and you have to do 1 before that. You might have to do 01. Is anybody out there in the UK in the chat that could help Richard with on dialing to the show here? I would appreciate that. The phone number is correct. It's working. There's just some kind of international thing there. If you know how to use Discord or you're more comfortable with that, that's okay too. Hop on there and let me know. We'll put you on the show. All right. So tonight we are discussing some Mars. Basically, there's a ton of news coming. I say out of Mars, not really out of Mars, but out of the news cycle about what's happening on Mars. And as we were discussing in the first hour of the show here, is that we have Elon Musk declaring that in 2024, by 2024, he's going to be sending a colony up there. He's going to be sending people for the first time ever up to the red planet, okay? And not just to hang out and do their thing. They're going to build a colony. And they're supposed to actually stay there, actually build this colony and start building, making people a multi-planetary species, in Elon Musk's words, right? That's what he's talking about. That's where we're going. That's where we're headed with this. But all kinds of questions as I'm reading these things and trying to keep up with the news and seeing what's happening with all this Mars stuff. Like I said, we've got so not just Elon saying he's going to Mars by 2024. We've got the Perseverance rover and the Ingenuity helicopter from the United States on Mars currently, right? It's got a ton of press recently. The first helicopter on Mars, and it's taken I think it's 5 test flights now. So it's off the leash. So apparently they've done all the tests they need, and it's moved from one point to another. This helicopter on Mars. Now, again, like I said, there's a ton of information. There was a study that came out regarding mushrooms on Mars, like some sort of they identified an actual mold spores or something, like some kind of something growing on the rover up there. So I mean, and some scientists are laughing at that paper. Some scientists are forehead smacking, rolling their eyes. Others are like, wait a minute, maybe there's something here, right? It just depends. It depends on who you ask. But that's what we're talking about tonight. Is this whole Mars bit. And then not only that, tomorrow, tonight's Thursday night if you're listening, tomorrow, China is supposed to land their, not just a lander, but also a rover on the Mars at the same time. So there's a whole lot of stuff going on, and the space race is hot and heavy, right? I mean, in my lifetime anyway, it hasn't been like this at all. It just hasn't been like this. It's been, for a very, very long time. It's been, we haven't been back to the moon for whatever reason, and nobody's been back to the moon. They haven't sent people to the moon at all. There's rovers there, and they got the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter and all these things, but people haven't been back. Okay, and so in the conspiracy world, it kind of makes people, strap on an extra layer of tinfoil, right? Because why haven't we been back? Is there nothing interesting there? Does it not make sense to build a colony on the moon? As we discussed in the very second episode of the show, way back, greater than 3 years ago now, we talked about the moon and how there's actual there's going to be oxygen and water in the soil, the regolith they call it, of the moon. So everything we need is up there, and basically the chemical composition of the regolith on the moon is basically equivalent to quickcrete. So you could get the water you need up there, and you have the water you need to kind of start making fuel. I mean, there's so many resources on the moon. Why haven't we been back? Why is there not a base up there? At least, let's say, a public base, right? Some have claimed that there's a secret base or some of these other things, but whatever. We're not going to talk about that tonight, but unless you want to, of course, because, well, like I said, we are live, and if you want to be part of this show and talk about these things, I'd love to hear from you. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can join the Discord at troubledminds.org, and let's get into some more of this. All right, so this is from CNBC, and this is again Elon Musk talking about making it to Mars, right? And here we go. Dropping all the links in the chat so you guys can follow along if you prefer. As always, I like that where my sources come from, because it's an important thing. It's I'm not hip shooting most of this. I'm not making it up. And here you go. All right. So good call so far. Let's see. Reading the chat. What's up, guys? Let's see. Country code 011. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate that. All right. So let's go to this. So Elon Musk wants SpaceX to reach Mars so humanity is not a single planet species, he says, right? SpaceX founder and Elon Musk remains focused on his vision for the company, establishing a permanent human presence on Mars with its Starship rockets carrying people to and from the red planet. Quote, "We don't want to be one of those single planet species. We want to be a multi-planet species," Musk said on Friday, speaking after the company launched its Crew 2 mission to orbit. And this was from April 23rd, so not that long ago. And he says, quote, it's been now almost half a century since humans were last on the moon. That's too long. We need to get back there and have a permanent base on the moon, again, like a big permanently occupied base on the moon. Notice he's not mincing his words. He's saying exactly what he thinks this should be. And then he continues, and then build a city on Mars to become a spacefaring civilization, a multi-planet species, Musk also said. So this is what's going on. This is, again, right? If you ever wanted to live in interesting times, I'm telling you what, these are interesting times. May you live in interesting times, they say, right? And we're talking about all kinds of stuff on Mars. Elon Musk, by 2024, he says, which I shared in the first half here, he's saying they can do it by 2024. His first goal was 2022, and they had to bump it back, right? Well, COVID considerations and some other things. But interestingly, it's still on track to get us there. But anyway, what do you think about this and all the rest of these questions about? Notably, we talked about in the first hour is that if this colony gets to Mars, let's say, and they encounter intelligent life, I kind of pointed out who's responsible for communicating with that intelligent life, right? So just a quick recap of what we were talking about. There's an actual what's this called? The Outer Space Treaty of 1967. Okay, and there's a stipulation in here, bullet point number 4 from this article, which I'm going to link again if you guys want to check this out. I encourage you to. But astronauts are regarded as the envoys of mankind. The envoys of mankind, all right? Which means that, of course, whoever encounters the aliens first are going to be the people that are supposedly setting up the first contact, initial contact, right? So there's again, right? There's a lot here. There's a lot of considerations to kind of really think about in the coming days regarding what's happening, and then not only that, of using Mars as an asset, or who does it belong to? I mean, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that's actually outlined in this Outer Space Treaty of 1967. But it seems like, they did this back when they were going to the moon and whatnot, and we haven't been back since. So I think it might be time to update this. And the weird part about this is as somebody pointed out in the chat, several of you actually pointed out that it's not likely that whoever gets to Mars first is going to really go by this treaty, right? They're not going to do this at all. It's like there's no cops up there, right? There's no, like, the repercussions would be, come and get me, right? Catch me if you can. and that's really what this would kind of be about, right? It would be like a brand new everything. You'd have to create your own laws and everything up there, right? And oddly enough, in some of the science fiction, right, and from the Total Recall to all kinds of other sci-fi that talked about colonies on Mars, there's there's that whole the Mars colonists are revolting. So who knows, right? Like, who knows what the heck is going to go on with this? But like I said, interesting times. And so the questions for you tonight is, again, this is the question show, not the answer show. But what do you believe? Do you believe that we're actually going to send people to Mars? I know there's some people that believe the world is flat and space isn't real, right? I know that there's people that believe that. I know there's people that believe that Elon Musk is just full of hot air and he's not going to be able to do the things he says. Right. And I know there's people that fully believe that absolutely he's going to send people to Mars in 2024. And this is going to happen. So the question for you is, how much of this do you believe? Do you think this stuff is possible? And then, that's really what we're talking about tonight. So looking to hear from you, like I said, and we'll get into some more Mars news. And because, like I said, it's coming hot and heavy. There's a lot of news coming out of Mars right now. But 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can also join the Discord. Go to troubledminds.org. And there you go. Richard in the chat says Elon's belly is full of helium. Yeah, right? So you don't believe him? You think it's a bunch of hogwash? That could be. What's up? Robert in a Facebook chat says, the first Earthlings on Mars joyrode on the planet in Musk cars. The fuel run out. They walked instead and walked until all were dead. Very nice. Except Musk, who never went. I had a phone call coming in. We were about to take it, and then it hung up. So anyway, we are taking your phone calls, 702-957-1037, troubledminds.org. The official website, you can find the phone number and the Discord link there. Matt in the chat says, don't tell me China gets to Cydonia first. And that's an interesting thought. They do have that rover on the dark side of the moon right now, U-2-2, YUTU-2, the U-2-2 rover. So there's maybe they're going to get to Cydonia first. What else do we got? Okay, let's get to some of this Mars news as we wait for phone calls. And if we don't, we'll just burn through the Mars news. No problem. There's lots here. Okay, so with Elon going to actual Mars in 2024, he says there's a lot of other stuff that's happening right now with China. So let's go. They recently put an orbiter up there in the past, I think just in the past couple months. But also, this is from observer.com. I'm going to link the sources as I always do, and you can follow along if you prefer. But this is, check this out. This is what they're doing now. And so tomorrow, Friday is it really? Friday the 14th. I thought it was the 13th. I was going to go, what the heck? That's a bad day to land. Okay, Friday the 14th, the Tianwen-1, which is a Mars probe, a Chinese Mars probe, is going to land a lander and a rover on the red planet tomorrow. So here we go. China's first ever Mars probe, the Tianwen-1, has been orbiting around the red planet since February. Okay, it's the same vessel. Okay, sweet. I didn't know that. I thought it was a different thing here. On Friday, the probe's rover, Zhurong, Zhurong, will attempt a soft touchdown on Mars' surface. The Tianwen-1 mission was launched in July 2020 by the China National Space Administration atop a long March 5 rocket and reached Mars orbit in 5 months later. Details about Friday's landing are scarce. Local media reports suggest that touchdown will begin about 7:11 p.m. Eastern Time. That would be 7:11 a.m. Beijing time on May 15th, aiming for Utopia Planitia, a large impact basin in Mars's northern hemisphere. Once deployed, the rover will spend about 90 Martian days, which is equivalent to 93 Earth days, studying its surroundings in detail. Like NASA's Perseverance rover, Zhurong will experience 7 minutes of terror after it enters Mars's atmosphere. If you guys remember that whole 7 minutes of terror thing, how they did that, like the OMG moment as this thing lands, is it going to crash, is it going to land safely, whatever. Anyway, that's the 7 minutes of terror. So past Mars landing attempts suggest that a rover only has a 50% chance of surviving the descent. Ooh, there it is, right? They might just smack this sucker in and boom, have another more debris on Mars. So Zhurong is a 6-wheeled solar-powered robotic rover that the CNSA has described as looking like a blue butterfly. The rover is named after the god of fire from ancient Chinese mythology. The winning name was chosen among 10 candidates from a public vote in April. So there we go. That's what's happening. This is tomorrow. Here's another actual article from Yahoo here. So this is... there it is. So they're attempting this, and this is happening now. So not only do we have the first helicopter on Mars, we have the China also dropping a lander and a rover, and this is all happening tomorrow. So, like I said, if there's ever been Mars news, this is the week for it, because there's a ton of stuff happening up there right now. And like I said, some people don't believe this is real at all. Some people believe this is a bunch of PR stuff to keep us from, actually. We're knowing what's really going on in the world, right? Like, I don't know if I, subscribe to all of that stuff, but, I do follow the propaganda pretty close and trying to untangle the things and find the truth in this. But, I don't know. So now we're going to have some Mars rovers that we've put up there. There's Opportunity, and there's the Curiosity rover, which have been up there for quite some time now. And then we have our new ones that just hit in the past, couple months. And now China is going to put their first rover and lander also on the moon, right? So interestingly, like I said, in the 60s, say 1967, the space race was hot and heavy, right? Everybody was trying to get to the moon. Everybody was trying to get in orbit, right? That whole Sputnik thing, right? Everybody was, it was like a dark day in the United States when Russia made it to space before we did. All kinds of stuff. But, now, like, in 50 years have passed. And so now, 50 plus years. And so now here we are with all this kind of stuff happening, and it doesn't get headline news, right? I mean, it kind of does, for clickbait. But, other than that. So here we go. From the Yahoo News article, China may attempt to land its Mars lander and rover on the Red Planet on Friday. If successful, the Tianwen-1 mission will be the first to deploy an orbiter and a lander and a rover. So they put an orbiter, a lander, and a rover in the same mission. That's pretty hot, right? China's Zhurong rover aims to study water ice on Mars, a valuable resource for future astronauts. And that's what's happening. That's what's going on. Like I said, there's a lot here. There's a lot happening on Mars if you believe this stuff. What else? And then so not only that, recently we actually saw this happening, which is the Ingenuity. Oh, come on, you ad block jerk. All right, let's fix that. All right, so the Ingenuity helicopter also just happened, right? It also just went down on Mars. They, like I said, they did their fifth test flight, and interesting stuff. So let's read some of this. This is from digitaltrends.com. Ingenuity helicopter explores Mars on its own for the first time. And this is from May 8th, just a couple days ago. And this is what happened. At 3:26 p.m. Eastern on Friday, May 7th, the helicopter completed a one-way journey from its previous home base named Wright Brothers Field to a new airfield located 423 feet away to the south, which was a big deal because at first, the only things they did were some test flights going straight up, straight down, right? They just wanted to make sure that the math worked and the propellers were good and no damage and all that stuff. The thing would actually fly. And so they did a bunch of that. But then this happened, May 7th, right? Quote, "We bid adieu to our first Martian home, Wright Brothers Field, with grateful thanks for the support it provided to the historic first flights of a planetary rotorcraft," said Bob Ballaram, chief engineer for Ingenuity Mars helicopter at JPL in a statement. "No matter where we go from here, we will always carry with us a reminder of how much those two bicycle builders from Dayton meant to us during our pursuit of the first flight on another world. Of course, he's talking about the Wright brothers and how they kind of made the first airplanes, right, back then. So like I said, there's a ton of stuff coming out of Mars. So we have this Ingenuity, so it not just flew up and down, it actually flew 423 feet away and found a new landing spot. So now supposedly this thing is going to be flying around Mars and collecting information, collecting photographs, hopefully collecting data, actually being able to help scout for the rover on the path it's supposed to drive. Maybe spot some interesting things possibly on Mars, which we'll get to in a little bit, because they're saying, like I've been teasing here as we've been talking about this, that they are finding some interesting things on Mars, right? It's happening. This stuff is happening, guys. And like I said, it's no matter what you believe about this, this is an interesting time to be alive, because this is all groundbreaking. People have never done these things before, and they're happening on the daily. Like every day, something new happens that's never happened before. It seems like, anyway. And it kind of gets a little bit of press. Some people are excited, like this, the space heads or whatever, are super stoked. But there's so many people that are just like, meh. So why? That's what I want to know. Why are you guys excited about this Mars stuff, or are you not interested? I think that's a part of this conversation. I think it's worth talking about. To me, I'm stoked. I'm stoked because of the information that's coming. Hopefully we can get to the bottom of if there is life on Mars currently, right? And like I said, if there is, I fully expect it to be upside down. Or it's not upside down. See what I did there? I expect it to be underground. I expect that life on Mars to be underground. But yeah, so how do you guys feel about this? Do you think that? How about this? Another question: is anybody out there going to sign up and try and be one of the first people to get to Mars? How about that? Would you be willing to go? We had somebody call a while ago and ask and then say that they would be willing to go. So, I mean, that's the question, right? There's a whole lot of this. There's a whole lot of information coming out. I see you guys in the chat. We'll catch up with chat in just a sec. But what do you think? What do you think? Are you impressed by this, or do you think this is just a bunch of BS? And I'm open to those ideas. I want to hear why you would think that. And like I said, as part of a two-way discussion, I'm not interested in telling people they're wrong. There's so many places you can go and have stupid arguments on the internet. I just want to hear your theories. I want to hear what you think about this. Do you trust the propaganda, which there's tons of, clearly? That's why I do this show, right? Or do you think that it is an exciting time to be alive, like I've been describing and discussing? So, like I said, that's what's going on tonight. That's what we're doing as part of this, and we're still looking to hear from you. And, of course, that means you can give us a call. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange, and you can call us at 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037, and you can be part of the show. I'm looking to talk to you guys. What do you think about this? Is it an exciting time to be alive, or is this just a bunch of hogwash, and you don't really care? There are more pressing concerns here on Earth, and that's what we should be spending our time on. That's what I want to know. One more time, give me a call, 702-957-1037. Don't go anywhere. More talk about Mars, Elon Musk, and life on Mars coming up next after the break. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We are streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and DLive. We are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. Tonight, we're talking about Mars. All kinds of news coming out of Mars. We've got the rovers, the helicopters. China's doing a landing tomorrow. Elon Musk says he's going to be there by 2024. They found supposedly mold spores and also bizarre rocks. We're going to get to that stuff in just a sec, but I'd love to hear what you think. Do you think this is exciting times and it's worth talking about? Or do you think, as many people do, it's just a bunch of BS and they lie to us about many things, including this? That's what I'd love to know. What do you think? As always, looking to talk to you tonight. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can also join the Discord at troubledminds.org. And that's what's up. That is the deal. That's what we're doing. Having a good time. Talking about space, talking about the space race, talking about propaganda, talking about all kinds of stuff. We got a good comment here in the Fringe chat. TLC in Nevada asks this. Do you think the Chinese vehicle will see glass domes Richard C. Hoagland is claiming are there? And that's interesting, right? Because a lot of folks have claimed that there's the monolith on Mars or on the Phobos moon of Mars, that there's all kinds of things. The Cydonia region is very let's say compelling. The pyramid on Mars, things like this, right? There's a whole bunch of stuff that people claim is not cool, not legit. That's been up there for a very long time that NASA is kind of ignoring. And that's really what I want to know from you guys. Do you think that this is, some people believe that these Mars rovers are not even real, that they're just like out there in like Canada or in the Nevada desert or something, right? And that's fine. I want to hear why you would think that. And or some people believe that, like I said, the world is flat and there's a firmament and we can't escape. I mean, this is what I'm looking to hear. But anyway, so as we go through and talk about all this stuff, there's more news. There's more news coming out of Mars. So we're going to get to that in just a sec here. But like I said, I'd rather hear from you. And what do you think? Exciting times? Or are we just kind of bored with our propaganda news cycles and we want more hate and division? Is that what we want? Because we could do that if you want. Should I start bringing up sideways stuff and spit and vinegar? That's not what I want to do. But okay, all right, let's go to this. This is from cnet.com. Got a phone call coming in. Appreciate that. We'll go to you in just a sec. From cnet.com. NASA's Perseverance rover begins looking for signs of life in Mars lake bed. And the Martian rover has done plenty of rolling. Now it's ready to rock, right? So approximately 195 million miles away on the surface of Mars, NASA's helicopter Ingenuity has been performing some extreme feats of space exploration. The tiny rotorcraft achieved the first powered flight on another planet in April and has been stealing a lot of the Martian spotlight since. But its sister robot, the rover Perseverance, is also trying to achieve a monumental first: discover signs of life on another planet, which we're going to talk about. We'll continue. There's more. There's interesting evidence that's kind of popped up and some peculiar things on Mars, as you would expect, right? I expect to find all kinds of crazy stuff up there. There's some speculation that there's an ancient civilization that died in a cataclysm, right? Go back to the remote viewing of the 60s with the CIA. And, Ingo Swann and what's the other guy's name? McMonagle. That's the guy's name. So, there's a couple folks that actually suggested there was, life on Mars a million years ago. So it wouldn't surprise me, let's say, to actually find some crazy stuff up there. So I'm crossing my fingers that hopefully we do. Let's go to Derek here. Is this no? Is this it's Derek again? What's up, Derek? How you doing, buddy? What is on your mind tonight, my friend? Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Jack. How about I try Jack? Jack? Derek? All right. Nothing. All right, give me a call back. I cannot hear you. I appreciate the call. All right, so let's continue with this. So this is again, they're up there looking for signs of life. They're doing the thing, right? Phone lines are open for you, the rest of you guys as well. 702-957-1037. We'll get to Derek or Jack in a sec. He's given me 2 names now, so just don't give me 3 names because I'll be really confused. But okay, here we go. So in a NASA blog post Tuesday, the space agency details some of the images snapped by a camera known as Watson, positioned on the rover's robotic arm. The instrument and a suite of other cameras is critical to analysis of the rover's landing zone in Jezero Crater, which scientists believe was once home to a giant lake. And where there was once water, there may be life, which is fine, right? That's what we're talking about. That's what we're trying to get here, and we're trying to, like everybody else, we want to know. We want to know: is there life out there? Are they pulling our chain? They yanking our chain? What are they doing here? But there's other interesting things. Check this out. Now, not only has some news come out about possible mold on Mars, which we'll get to in a little bit, but this is another thing that just happened. Literally just happened. What is this? About 15 hours ago. This is from space.com. NASA's Perseverance rover on Mars has found some mysterious rocks. Mission scientists are keen to know the rock's origin. And so here we go. We got some images here. I linked it so you guys can check it out. As always, I appreciate you double checking my sources to make sure I'm not making this stuff up, because I'm not. I'm sourcing it from these different places. But here we go. NASA's Mars rover Perseverance is starting to take the measure of its new red planet home. For the past 5 weeks, Perseverance has been focused primarily on supporting and documenting the pioneering flights of its little cousin, the 4-pound Mars helicopter Ingenuity, which we've talked about quite a lot on this show. But the car-sized rover has been doing science work of its own in the background as well. For example, Perseverance has extensively photographed its surroundings, the boulder-studded floor of a Mars 28-mile-wide Jezero crater, where the rover and chopper touched down on February 18th with its high-resolution Mastcam-Z imaging system. Perseverance has also studied nearby rocks in greater detail using 2 other instruments, its rock-zapping SuperCam laser and the Watson wide-angle topographic sensor for operations and engineering camera at the end of its robotic arm. So notably, now I'm going to make this full screen, they supposedly found some bizarre rocks where they don't really know the origin here. And so I've made this full screen so you guys can see, and those that don't, that can't see it, I'll describe it. These rocks appear almost like, I would say, like sediment of sorts, like the, maybe if they're saying Jezero crater is the bottom of a lake on Mars, that this appears to be, I don't know, maybe these are structures of a sort, maybe like you might find, ruins of a civilization at the bottom of a lake. Am I seeing things here? I don't know. Like, what is this exactly? And so it was notable enough for them to stop and take pictures and wonder what the heck is happening with this. And so there you go. It made this article, and this is what's happening up there. So I don't know exactly what this is, of course. As you know, if you guys know, I'd love to hear from you. But what's going on? What's going on Mars? Are these actual ancient civilizations up there, the remains of them, as people have suggested, or is this just more rocks? All right, let's go back to Derek. Derek, let's see. Derek trying to call back. Let's do it. Derek, you're on Trouble Minds with Mike. How are you, my friend? Can you hear me? Test 1, 2. What's up, buddy? Are you there? Are you there? You were like a 50% call rate, my man. Half the time you don't even come through at all. Derek, can you hear me? Testing 1, 2. Nope. Okay. All right. I'm gonna realize this happens from time to time and just keep on trucking. Okay. The rest of you guys are also welcome to call 702-957-1037. But looking at these rocks, what do you suggest? Is this something you might expect to see from an ancient civilization? I don't know. Pretty good stuff here. But Matt says in the chat, the rover has HD cameras and the helicopter doesn't. I don't know. That's a good question. Because they told us, right? The actual, I think the helicopter itself had to be only 4 pounds, so they couldn't put a bunch of equipment on it. I think maybe that's the reason. But come on, now you can have these tiny cameras, right? They got tiny spy cameras all over the damn place these days. Okay, so anyway, Perseverance has also studied nearby rocks in greater detail using 2 other instruments. It's rock zapping camera laser, which we talked about. So the mission team is keen to know whether the stones are volcanic or sedimentary in origin, right? And that's what I was saying. Is this sediment at the bottom of a lake? Is this, and that's the other news, is that people suggest, based on some new evidence, that it appears Mars may actually be volcanically active, right? That's what I'm saying. Like in the last 2 weeks, the amount of Mars news has been off the charts. It's been literally off the charts. And so, like I said, it was kind of easy. It was just like staring me in the face, all this stuff that we haven't talked about that I think we kind of need to. So anyway, are these volcanic rocks? Is it sedimentary, like at the bottom of a lake? Or I'm going to add a third. Is it maybe like the ruins of an ancient civilization, like you might find at the bottom of a lake here on Earth, right? It would look kind of like this, wouldn't it? I think so. I definitely think so. Okay, that's what's on deck. That's what we're talking about. And there's more. There's always more, right? There's always more of this. We haven't even got to the mold on Mars yet in that scientific paper. So if you guys want to be part of the show, looking to hear from you. Again, like I said, is this is the up-to-date news of Mars and the rest of this stuff? Is it interesting? Is this the type of stuff you like to hear? Love to hear feedback on this show. Kind of been quiet out there tonight. Testing 1 2. Can anybody hear me? Can anybody hear me? If you can hear me in the chat, type yes. I can hear you, Mike. Yes, yes, yes. Looking for a yes out there. But yeah, that's the whole deal, right? That's why we do this live to continue to actually have you as part of this conversation. And phone number's up, and looking to hear from you. As always, you guys know the drill. We got about 15 minutes left on Fringe, and then we have another hour after that on DLive, Facebook, and YouTube. So one more time, 702-957-1037. Join the Discord at troubledminds.org. Phone number and Discord are there. And here's the thing, right? So Elon Musk is going to Mars in 2024, he says, right? And then so we talked about the space treaty tonight of, the first person to make contact with aliens is actually going to be the envoy for humanity. There's no actual, you got to call back the president or any of the rest of this stuff. You just have to, you're it. Congratulations, shake the little green men's hand and start making good for all of humanity, right? All right, we got some yeses in the chat. Thanks, guys. All right, just making sure. It's been a little quiet out there tonight. Are you not interested in Mars? If you hear about Mars, you want to hear about the aliens and only the aliens, the Richard C. Hoagland type stuff, the Michael Salla type stuff. Is that what we want to hear about? I don't know. I kind of like what comes out of the news cycles and. Really kind of parsing it and wondering what's really going on with this stuff. So we got Derek trying to call back. So I'll try and get to him in a sec. But it is what it is, right? All kinds of stuff on Mars, and I think it's worth talking about. And like I said, it was just staring me in the face tonight. It was just let's just pull open the news tab and smash the news, and it was like Mars. I think we had to kind of go through and talk about this stuff. Okay, so anyway. Back to this now. So they found these really weird rocks on Mars. And again, are they volcanic? Is it sedimentary as at the bottom of a lake? Is this, again, I'm going to add this as part of the Richard C. Hoagland bit and the rest of these guys, Michael Salla and, Randy Kramer and, some of these guys that may or may not be, notable or credible depending on your opinion, of course. But is this maybe the remnant of an ancient civilization on Mars itself? And I don't know. I think, these are compelling enough for them to stop and take a look. And they seem to be, I don't know, maybe not the most compelling things on Mars. There's a lot of really, really interesting things up there that kind of don't get a lot of play, unfortunately. But that's what's up. So, okay. So like I said, this is brand new. This just came out today. And also, what came out earlier this week, which we're going to talk about in just a sec here, is that we are going to talk about mold, talk about actual life on Mars, right? Like not just little green men style, but like scientifically. There was a scientific paper that came out. Let's pull that up and kind of include that as part of this discussion, just so we can get all the information in tonight. Let's see. Okay, so there we go. The Perseverance rover has found these weird rocks on Mars, and here we go. Here's another one from space.com. Here's what you probably didn't know. Like I said, look at all this. Mars may still be volcanically active, study finds. Evidence of what may be the youngest eruption seen on Mars suggests the red planet may still be volcanically active, raising the possibility it was recently habitable, a new study finds. Most volcanism on Mars occurred between 3 billion and 4 billion years ago, leaving behind giant monuments such as Olympus Mons, the tallest mountain in the solar system, at 16 miles high. Olympus Mons is about 3 times as tall as Mount Everest, Earth's highest mountain. Previous research suggested that the red planet may still have flared with smaller volcanic eruptions as recently as 2.5 million years ago. Now, scientists have found evidence that Mars may still be volcanically active, with signs of an eruption within the past 50,000 years or so. Quote, this being the youngest documented volcanic eruption on Mars, the potential that Mars could potentially be volcanically active at present is exciting, study lead author David Horvath, a planetary scientist now at the Planetary Science Institute in Tucson, Arizona, told Space.com. Using data from satellites orbiting Mars, researchers analyzed relatively featureless equatorial plains in a region known as Elysium Planitia. They discovered a previously unknown smooth, dark volcanic deposit about 8 miles wide, covering an area slightly larger than Washington, D.C. It surrounds a volcanic fissure about 20 miles wide, one of the cracks making up the fissure system known as the Cerberus Fossae. And, crazy stuff here. I don't know what's really going on with this. So we got these weird rocks. Is it sediment? Is it volcanic rocks? Then we have this information. This is from 2 days ago. Then we're going to get to mold on Mars in just a sec. Let's go to this call real quick to see if we can get this back. Nope, not happening. That's like 1 for 6 tonight, Derek. What's going on, man? Now, all right, let's see. Where is this one? Where's this one? There's more. There's more here. No, now this is pretty crazy. This is the actual paper that was written regarding this fungi, right? Exactly, as TLC in Nevada says there in the chat, penicillin on Mars, maybe, right? So let's see. I'm going to link all this into chat so you guys can follow along as usual. And look at that. That's like a mouthful of like Mars news. It's been literally nothing but 2 hours now of nothing but like Mars news. Like I'm telling you, it's like if it's not in the zeitgeist, it's being forced in there. That's for sure. I think that's worth looking at, worth considering. But here we go. So this paper here from ResearchGate.net says this. Fungi thrive in radiation-intense environments. Sequential photos document that fungus-like Martian specimens emerge from the soil and increase in size, including those resembling puffballs. After obliteration of spherical specimens by the rover wheels, new sphericals, some with stalks, appeared atop the crests of old tracks. Sequences documented that thousands of black Arctic what are these called? Oraniforms grew up to 300 meters in the spring and disappear by winter. A pattern repeated each spring. Anyway, this is a scientific paper. If I read the rest of this, it's going to, 1, I won't be able to pronounce half the words. 2, it's going to put you to sleep. But what they're suggesting is that they found life on Mars, is that they actually found this, here it is right here, newscientist.com. And of course, this is New Scientist, a website that really doesn't do a lot of speculation. So of course they're going to crap on this idea, which, you would expect, which is fine. It's okay. Different sources, like I said, depends on who you ask. It always depends on who you ask. But here we go. I'm linking the sources and you guys can check it out. And there we go. All right, let's try one more time. We're going to try this one more time. Nope. All right. Call dropped again. All right. Sorry, Derek. That's like strike 7. Sorry, man. Thanks for calling back. I appreciate it. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with your phone line. Okay, so here we go. Scientists finally find life on Mars. Or actually, they haven't, right? So this is exactly what we're talking about. This is May 12, 2021. In terms of big science news, this is up there with the biggest. There's life on Mars. Oh, the internet was abuzz last week when news emerged that mushrooms had been spotted on the red planet. The fungal life forms had been seen in photos taken by NASA rovers nearly 2 decades ago and somehow overlooked by the space agency for all these years. The paper making this claim, published online by the Advances in Microbiology, asserted that the photos showed spherical mushroom-like formations, which even expanded in diameter after sequential photos suggesting biological growth. The authors said that NASA had ignored other evidence of life on Mars in the past due to peer pressure. The paper has had a mixed reception, as you might expect, and while some online news sites lapped it up, others were more skeptical. To get to the bottom of things, Feedback tried to consult the New Scientist space correspondent, but she seemed reticent, claiming to be busy working on, quote, real stories. There you go. So basically, it kind of goes like this. That they said that they saw these mushroom type things being run over by the rover, right? And then they kind of popped up back up. Well, I don't know. Like you guys can read the paper yourselves and make this determination. It seems like it's fake. It seems like it's just another fake. People stretching, right? But that's how science is done, right? Like you observe things and people kind of make stretches. People make hypotheses and kind of carry on with the rest of these things. So I don't know. Is this real? Is this not? I don't know what to tell you. I'm going to say the jury's out, right? But also, as noted here, there's let's see. This is from CNN.com, and we'll wrap it up with this. But in former NASA scientist says they found life on Mars in the 1970s. All right. And so this is not new. Like, this information is definitely not new, that, there were supposedly life on Mars for a very long time. It just depends on who you ask. Like I said, it just always depends on who you ask. So here we go. Read just a little bit of this, and then we'll finish this up. I'm coming near the end of the show here. CNN. We may have already discovered the essence of life on Mars 40 years ago, according to former NASA scientist Gilbert V. Levin, who was principal investigator on a NASA experiment that sent Viking landers to Mars in 1976, published an article in the Scientific American Journal last Thursday, arguing the experiment's positive results were proof of life on the red planet. The experiment, called Labeled Release, or LR, was designed to test Martian soil for organic matter. It seemed we had not answered that ultimate question, Levin wrote in the article. In the experiment, the Viking probes placed nutrients in Mars soil samples. If life were present, it would consume the food and leave gaseous traces of its metabolism, which radioactive monitors would then detect. All right. To make sure it was a biological reaction, the test was repeated after cooking the soil, which would prove lethal to known life. If there was a measurable reaction, the first and not the second sample, that would suggest biological forces at work. And that's exactly what happened, according to Levin. Back in the 70s, right? And he's saying that, 1976, that there was actually proof of life on Mars, and it's been overlooked. And if that's the case, then what? I don't know. I don't know what to think anymore. Like, are we being told the truth about anything? I think that's really the question tonight, as we continue thinking about this and talking about this. And you look at the news cycles and see all the stuff coming out of, Mars regarding, again, think about it. Just this week, we've got China landing a lander and a rover. We've got the first flights of the alien helicopter, right? We've got the mold on Mars study. We've got Mars is now probably officially volcanic, right? Still, not just a billion years ago, still, right? And then we've got, it's an unbelievable amount of things. And then 2024, Elon Musk is supposed to actually land on Mars. Right? It's an unbelievable amount of news just coming out about this in the last 2 weeks. It's nuts. And so, as always, I'm going to keep an eye on this. It's hard to do it all. If one story pops up, it's hard to kind of just stick to one story and, something similar to that and kind of do a whole show. So I thought it was smart to maybe grab a whole bunch of all this Mars stuff and jam it into one show, and that's what we've done tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, sometimes it's a little bit dense with the information, but I hope you learned something. I hope you had a good time. And as you know, this show airs Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific, and I appreciate you coming to hang out with us. I appreciate you listening. I appreciate all the thoughtful chat. Appreciate all the phone calls and all the support for this show. Like I said, it's easy for me to just sit in a corner and talk to myself. It's another thing entirely when you guys are out there hearing what I'm saying and hanging on every word. I appreciate that quite a lot. Thank you. If you're listening to the Fringe FM, stay tuned for Joe Roop, Lighting the Void. If you're listening to Troubled Minds on DLive, Facebook, or YouTube, stay tuned for a third hour of Troubled Minds. Thanks again. Be sure, be strong, be true. From our Troubled Minds to yours, have a great night. Okay, welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and over here chomping on some tri-tip and drinking some beer. Life is good. I can't complain. And we're talking about Mars tonight. I think it's one of those topics that so much news coming out of this. Like I said, it's been bombarding the news cycle for the last several weeks here. And so not only do we have, again, volcanics on Mars, we've got apparently this study that says there's some sort of fungus or fungi or whatever, like mold spores or something going on up there. We've got the Mars, the actual Chinese lander landing tomorrow, actually with not only a lander and a rover at the same time. And so that's going on. We have again the helicopter on Mars, which has done like the first 4 or 5 test flights, and now has been kind of a let go off the leash, and it's going to be able to fly around and do some cool stuff. This has been the moment I've been waiting for this helicopter, because like flying 10 meters in the air and back down. It's a big deal, right? Big whoop. Clearly the getting to that point is quite a bit more impressive, but it's just let's fly this sucker around. Let's find out what's up there. Let's do it. Let's start kicking ass and getting some information back. Let's meet the aliens, damn it. Let's meet the damn aliens, right? So anyway, as you know, that's what's going on. We got another hour here, unless nobody calls, then we'll cut it a little bit short, because like I said, I burned through all my information, and there's nothing for me to say other than what I already said. So I'll do my best, but we got a phone call here. I appreciate that. Looking to talk to you as well. 702-957-1037. You can join the Discord, troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link and get your ass in here. Get your ass to Mars. Let's go to Matt in Oregon. Matt in Oregon, you're on Troubled Minds with Mike. How are you, my friend? Thank you for calling tonight. Hello. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. What's going on with this? Is it me? It can't be me. My stuff is never broken. Huh. Test 1 2. Matt in Oregon, you're on Troubled Minds with Mike. What's up, buddy? All right, here's what I'm gonna do, because it seems like something's weird with this. So I'm going to reconnect this bit. I'm gonna reconnect the phone line, and maybe that's what's happening here. So I'm gonna try that. And all right, so reconnecting the phone line, and hopefully it'll be back up. 702-957-1037. I don't know what's up. That was Matt in Oregon. And we're gonna all right. Anyway, so it could be weird with the phone line. So maybe I was lecturing Derek there, and it wasn't his fault. All right, it's all good. Okay, so that's the deal, right? And should we be concerned about this stuff? I think that's the question. Is that back to 1967 and this was probably the thing that kind of got my attention the most, was kind of just considering what happens when the Mars rover, or not the Mars rover, the colony first happens, right? When they let's say they get it together, it happens, nobody dies, it's all fine and dandy, and they have a colony on Mars. Okay, now again, who does it belong to? Are they able to mine this stuff? Like what kind of laws are in place? And what kind of this other stuff? It's all, I don't know. It's all weird. I think that's really the thing. Let's see. What do we got? It's cool. I'll just read some chat. If not, so phone number should be back. Let's see. Yeah, let's unmute that. All right. If you want to try it again, Matt, or whoever else is trying to call, then it should be up. But okay, yeah, back to this again, right? Back to what we were talking about when we started this. That this is from space.com, and Elon Musk has said this, and this is part of what's a little bit more terrifying about this, is that he said this, that Elon Musk reminds us that a bunch of people will probably die going to Mars, right? Probably die. So that's not, that's never good, is it? That's not a good thing. But this is kind of part of the danger here. So this isn't the first time that the tech billionaire has mentioned the likely demise of future Mars-bound astronauts. Quote, honestly, a bunch of people will probably die in the beginning. Barefoot SpaceX founder Elon Musk told X Prize founder Peter Diamandis in a recent interview about the first crewed mission to Mars. SpaceX had its sights set. Actually, there's an interview here. Let's see how long this is. Let's go with an interview. Oh God, it's an hour and 20 minutes. Never mind. All right, so SpaceX had its sights set on the Mars since Musk has formed the company in 2002, and for years Musk who became a tech billionaire before SpaceX's launch, has been very candid about the risks that come with the territory of human spaceflight to the Red Planet. In fact, 2017, Musk said at the International Astronautical Congress that the first humans to journey to Mars should be prepared to die. There you go. Are you prepared? Are you prepared is the question here. So that's what we're talking about. It's part of this, right? If we're going to Mars, you gotta think about these things. You gotta think about people doing the bad stuff, the bad things. Accidents happen, and people make mistakes, and all the rest of this. So anyway, that's what we're talking about tonight. And like I said, is it whatever? Is this whatever? All right, here's another good question too. Let's go to the New Yorker. Now this article, again, it kind of got me thinking as well. Like I said, so many good news articles recently about Mars. Now this says this: is Mars ours? Should we treat other planets like natural resources or national parks? And I mentioned this article kind of in periphery when we were talking about the news on the news show on Monday. So this in particular, right? Last month, about a month into the pandemic, I reached out for something comforting. Oh, hold on. Let's skip down to the good stuff here. All right. So in let's see. Basically, this kind of points out the Space Treaty of 1967, right? Of, should we treat other planets like natural resources or national parks? It's a long and winding narrative, so I'm not going to go through this because, it's what they do at the New Yorker. God bless them, whatever. But sometimes I just like the give me the details, man. I just want to know the details. But the Outer Space Treaty, again, interesting to kind of circle back on this, right? No weapons in space. Right? No military maneuvers or military bases, installations, or fortresses are permitted on the moon or other celestial bodies, which are limited to peaceful purposes only. Military activities and conventional weapons are not prohibited in orbit. Space Force, therefore, can legally establish a military presence in orbit within the treaty framework. Keep in mind that conventional weapons can still be extremely destructive, such as kinetic bombardment. No weapons testing on the moon or other celestial bodies. So again, this is from this is the actual Outer Space Treaty. Going to link this again back in chat. I know people kind of come and go as we talk about these things, but this is what's going on right now. Is that this is kind of going to pop up in the forefront of this this actual as we get people up there, right? As we explore Mars. Let's see, what do we got? Let's see. Reading some chat. Let's go to the chat. Let's see. Vicky says, I want to hear all. I just don't believe it because we have been lied to so much. Yeah, right. With NASA, never a straight answer. What's up, Mary? How you doing? What's up, Tim? I see you there. Thanks for showing up, Tinfoil Timothy. Christopher says, it'd be really nice if they could bring those specimens back to Earth and they would be able to cure cancer or other deadly diseases. And I agree with you. That, kind of back to that is that everything's not doom and gloom, right? You just never know. What else do we got? What's up? Vicky says, yes, I hear you. Thank you. Matt says, well, can't go to Mars. I'm allergic to penicillin. Well, there it is. There it is. Remove your name from the ledger, sir. Geez. Timothy says, Russia is filming the first movie in space starting next week. I didn't hear that. Interesting. Let's see. It includes China's lander and rover land on Mars tomorrow. Exactly, which is what we're talking about. Like I said, the amount of news coming from Mars and the rest of this it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff. Like literally, I've been talking for 2 hours about just the weird stuff that's kind of coming through on Mars tonight. Joe, what's up? Good night. Says good night to all you people. I'm going to dream about putting the first strip club on Mars. Good night, my friend. Thanks for the call tonight. Thanks for hanging out with us. And yeah, I mean, it is what it is, right? Timothy says, worst treaty in history. Only a subjugated peoples would submit to such a thing. And I kind of agree, right? All right, so now not only this, right, the treaty on the principles of governing the activities of states in the exploration of use of outer space, including the moon and other celestial bodies, is what this is called. And this is, again, the 1967 Outer Space Treaty is what this is called. And let's go through a little bit more of this. Like I said, we did this in the very beginning of the show, but kind of worth going back and looking at what this stuff actually means. Number 2, space is free for exploration and use by all nations, and exploration should benefit mankind. This is, I kind of agree with Tim. This is like one of those things where when you draft feel-good legislation, right? It's one of those things. Like, what's up? Shout out to Super Vike. I know he listens to us on archives, but it like that term, feel-good legislation. It's like, okay, well, let's make these rules that just seem like they're in the best for humanity, and this sounds good. This all sounds good. Like, this is what people should do. But if we're being real, nobody's going to follow this crap, right? The first people up there are basically going to turn into bandits, right? Like interstellar bandits or interplanetary bandits, I mean, right? That's what's going to happen. They're going to run their own thing the way they're going to run it. And, like, who's going to go up to stop them? You can't stop them. They're going to do whatever the hell it is they want to do, right? So interesting. I think that's a pretty good take there, Tim, because I kind of agree. Making these rules, it's like loose frameworks. It's kind of like the Paris Climate Agreement, right? It's like, oh, by the way, all the folks out there, here's the things. Let's make the world a better place. And nobody does a damn thing, and there's no accountability. This is the same sort of like toothless legislation. And odd that it's, hasn't been updated since 1967. I think that's the crazy part. Yeah, Matt says space pirates. Exactly, space pirates. Yeah, a little bit crazy. But anyway, here's some more from this 1967 Outer Space Treaty, right? So the treaty states that the exploration and use of outer space shall be carried out for the benefit and in the interest of all countries and shall be the province of all mankind. This means, 1, no nation can block another nation from launching into space. Okay, cool. What about again? Nobody talked about kinetic weapons back then, like these hypersonic weapons. Nobody did any of that back then. This continues. Exploration and usage of space should be approached in a way that doesn't just benefit the nation running the mission. And most importantly, no nation shall claim sovereignty of outer space or any celestial body. And again, the ice pirates, the space herbies. Back to so this is again from the Outer Space Treaty of 1967, and like I said, it's unfortunate, but this stuff needs to be updated, right? This stuff really needs to be updated because this is not it's just not accurate anymore. Like we have all these different countries basically in a space race, and so not only are they after sovereignty of these places, because if you get a military presence up there first, you win, right? I mean, that's it. Like, it's your planet, and that's kind of what's happening. Even though there's these treaties, right, back to 1967, they could say, well, the people that were signing this crap are all dead. Who cares, right? Like, this stuff is not even the same thing at all. And so it's weird, right? Again, they need to update the hell out of this because it is not even close to what this is or what it should be anymore. And I don't know the answers to these, but I'm just saying, look, this is what's probably going to happen. And oddly enough, like I said, go back to Total Recall, one of my favorite movies there with Arnold, is that, there's like a revolution on Mars in that. They've got Mars colonies and they're, doing, archaeology and exploration and all this other stuff. But there's like revolutionaries on Mars trying to secede from the Earth Union or whatever the hell it is, and that's more likely what's going to happen. Just like Matt said, they're space pirates or space whatever, like their own sovereign nation. It's going to be weird. So anyway, here we go. So this continues. Lunar and asteroid mining regulations. So the part of the treaty that is deemed ambiguous and complete. This part of it, the language around lunar and asteroid mining is unclear whether resource extraction is deemed appropriation or commercial usage. Private companies lobbied the Obama administration to legalize space mining to bring about the U.S. Commercial Space Launch Competitiveness Act of 2015. Other countries are introducing similar laws to allow the mining of celestial objects for profit. The 2015 Act allows U.S. citizens and industries to, quote, engage in the commercial exploration and exploitation of space resources, namely minerals and water. If found, extraterrestrial life cannot be exploited commercially. You hear that? And the act is carefully worded to state that the U.S. does not assert sovereignty, exclusive rights, ownership, or jurisdiction over any celestial body. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right? And all right, now this is where it gets weird. This is where it gets even more weird, right? And this is what I was talking about kind of as we started, is that, the first people up there on actual... The first people up there actually on Mars are going to be, that maybe have, let's say, contact with extraterrestrials, are whatever it is they are. They're going to be the first envoys. Astronauts are regarded as the envoys of mankind, meaning this. This means that if an astronaut of any nation happens to run into a UFO and establish communications with an alien civilization, they should represent mankind rather than a specific spacefaring nation such as U.S., China, or Russia. All right, appreciate the call. We got Tim from Georgia, Tinfoil Timothy. What's up, my friend? You're on Troubled Minds. How are you tonight?
What's going on, Mike?
Yeah, the phone works, man.
A real important point. And It really is important. The way things will actually work is as we, Russia and China, fight over space, they'll have a picture that's presented to the public a certain way. The reality of things will be much different because there's no prying eyes. And that's what we have to remember is this is like the new world, Columbus going to the new world. This is the first people fleeing Europe to go to the new world and go mix it up with the Native Americans and start carving out a new country. It's the equivalent of that because we're going into the unknown, and not just with the technology, but it's just all of it's unknown as we progress forward from here on out until we learn all these things. Just like with coming to the new world, making new discoveries, mapping out the earth and all those things. It's a similar process, right? So there's a learning curve, but also comes the reality of they can have any damn treaty that they want to. The reality is this. If we don't get there first and secure it and militarize it, they will. And the treaties don't matter because the treaties here on Earth, the majority of the people are here on Earth. The decision maker of the day is going to be the military man or woman who is the astronaut on location that has to make that split-second decision that will define history forever. And if we don't seize the opportunity, and the whole idea is not to destroy Earth, so everybody benefits instead of everybody suffering, right? So what we've done now is alter warfare. Now we have full-spectrum hybrid warfare instead of actually fighting a full-scale world war. We're doing it through other means. And the space race is the ultimate way out for world government, for everybody's government, because literally it gives everybody something to look forward to, and the byproduct of the space race has always been innovation and technology that filters down to the public. And the other thing is, too, is you can use it to empower any people you want. You can say, okay, I want to empower this group of people and get their vote. And so all of a sudden, that minority person is now the next astronaut. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. No, exactly. That's a great point.
It can be manipulated.
Yeah.
Like right now.
Nepotism.
Okay, they need the biggest distraction in the world because all Democrats and all Republicans in office are absolutely full of crap. And the last 16 months has proven it to all of us beyond the shadow of a doubt that these people are liars.
Agreed.
They work together behind closed doors.
Agreed.
Right?
Yep.
And so here we are watching that go down, and so the best distraction they could come up with is life on Mars. Well, we already knew that. I knew that in like the 12th grade. I knew there was moisture. I knew that Mars had canals and polar ice caps when I was 12 years old. The information reflected today is the same information from my science book and geography lessons from back then. It hasn't been elaborated on very much at all, besides the new photos. But as far as actual real scientific data, there's most of that never really makes it to the public. We get a lot of pretty pictures and stuff like that, but we don't never get any explanations. We get more questions than we do answers. And then when we ask them, they just ask more questions without giving any answers. And that's when you know you're being snowed, first of all. That's when you know that something's not right. And the fact that every politician in the world has jumped on this bandwagon. And when you look at the infrastructure, when you look at all the changes that have been taking place, like everybody's national socializing their economy, everybody thinks it's great that Amazon's in all these antitrust suits. Amazon is Artemis. Artemis is the main competition for SpaceX. Artemis is owned by Jeff Bezos, and he owns Blue Horizon, okay? They manufacture their own rockets. They also use the Antares rockets that are launched off of an island in Virginia. They just launched one the other day. The day before the Chinese rocket came down, they launched the Antares rocket out of Virginia. that actually had some of Bezos' stuff on there and some of his satellites on it. So people are totally unaware. Vandenberg fired one off the day before that, and then Virginia. Then you had the Chinese rocket come down, and then somebody else sent another rocket up right after that. And so space is busy. It's busier in the last few years than in the previous couple decades combined.
Exactly. And not to mention,
it's always been there. It's just not widely publicized until they need it to be publicized.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, okay. So then what are they hiding? Just the fact that they're liars and thieves? Is that what's going on? Is it the shiny object?
Basically.
We're supposed to stare at the sky while they just plunder the treasury? Is that what's going on here?
I'm telling you, they don't know any more than you or I do, but as long as they can make you think that they have the ultimate knowledge, the ultimate power, then they have fear and control over you. And the reality is, as we explore space and we see those early astronauts go and do that, everybody is learning it all for the first time. The people up on high no more know what to expect than that astronaut does, and that's simply the truth. But they have built the impression that they do.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's because when you're a leader, you simply don't look at your people and say, I don't know. A leader always knows what to do, whether they're right or wrong. Even if it's a bad idea, you still have to show leadership, because if not, then you've got chaos. Like Caesar said, an army without centurions is just an unruly mob with swords. And he was right. You've got to have the officers lead the men. You have to have the leadership, or you don't have any kind of efficiency whatsoever. It turns into chaos, turns into an unruly mob. Civilizations and populations work the same way, you know?
Exactly. And
space kind of welds all that together, but in a fascistic ideal. And that's where we're being led to, which is exactly where Nazi Germany was going, and what fueled it and fueled the innovation and the money in Germany was the new technology, the rocket planes, the rockets, the jet engine. That's how they sold every industrialist involved on it, was with these new amazing technologies. Hey, we're going to go to space. We're going to put a base on the moon by 1950. These are the kind of speeches that were being made in the inner circles of the Nazi party. You know, when Werner von Braun came to America, he had drawings of space vehicles, full engineering documents for tons of space stations, space bases for the moon that could be ferried there in pieces and assembled there by astronauts. They had it all worked out, ladies and gentlemen. They had over a decade of all the plans drawn up and ready to go. And just like we've seen with China, immediately, right after they announced them in Russia, they're going to be out of the ISS and no more dealing with us in space, 3 days later, they put their first space station module in orbit, and then their crazy rocket took a week to come down.
Yeah, I agree. You got a ton of great points here, man, as always. So not only that, think of it in terms of this. Like you said, if you don't get up there and secure Mars as as an outpost that should be defended as such, like the amount of shenanigans that could happen up there, just sabotage wise, is unbelievable, right? Like you have a fledgling colony. Yeah. You poke a hole in something and the whole place just goes down and everybody inside dies. Like it's that type of vulnerability at first. And if you don't think that these are the things that they're thinking of to kind of undermine different countries and different folks that kind of go up there and do these things, I mean, like that in alone is scary by itself. So it is naive to say, oh well, we really shouldn't militarize space. But holy shit, just like you said, if you don't, somebody else will. And not only that, it's so sick that I'm even talking in these terms. It's just that if you like literally, it's kind of like just offering yourself up for the sacrifice to the most devious asshole out there. And it's a ton of work. It's a ton of everything to get people up there. You know what? The other thing that kind of dawns on me with this type of thing too, not just that. is that you know how we have like these human rights, you know, like you're not allowed to do stem cell research and this, like, you know, those types of things. Well, imagine once you get out to the Mars colony with no laws whatsoever, like that. This is where all the really ridiculous, sick shenanigans are going to go down, isn't it? I mean, they're going to be sending some really sick science experiments up there because there's no oversight at all. I mean, like there's a lot of things here that are just going to be really, really ugly at first. I think that you know, like you said, there's a lot to think about here.
Very good point, Mike. No oversight. That's the biggest thing to take away from it. Damn good point, man.
Thank you. And we'll see. And not only that, like I said, the sabotaging, as easy as it might be, we'll see. You know, like I said, so do you believe, Tim, that we're going to go there? Do you think Elon Musk actually has the ability to get us there in 2024?
Yeah, he does. Absolutely. And he'll do it too if they'll leave him alone. And he has a little bit more power than what people think he does. He's been toying with stuff. He tweeted today and made Dogecoin go up 20% with a tweet.
And yesterday,
what he discovered is that he's a 3-year-old with a magnifying glass, and he figured out how to burn ants with it, which is actually people. And he is doing the Dr. Evil laugh because now he understands just how much power and how much charisma he really has. And I think it was lost on him for a very long time until here recently. And it all started with Robin Hood. And once he realized that he could just conjure up an army on the internet out of thin air of real people that will beck his call, that's a very powerful voice to have.
It is, and you're
he
right.
Knows how to manipulate that now.
He's learning more and more every day. So, like you said, he sent out a tweet and Dogecoin went up 20%. The day before, he sent out a tweet and Bitcoin dropped 20% because he said Tesla's no longer going to take Bitcoin because of the environmental repercussions of creating Bitcoin, right? So he's
performing. Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
No, just he's literally manipulating the shit out of the markets just on a whim, like you were saying, like the ant in the magnifying glass. That's a great way to put it. Yeah. Go ahead.
I think what he's actually doing is conducting a real-time scientific experiment. I've done something similar on Facebook and some of the other platforms like Instagram over the last couple of years, and it's to cause ripples and see exactly where those ripples end up and what happens when the waves come back, because it's very important. Like I mentioned on the program when I called in before, let's say I go in to the AI and have it to where it holds up every toilet paper shipment in the world for 12 weeks. So no toilet paper gets shipped anywhere to anybody. And then we look at all the repercussions that causes, the ripple effect that it has in space-time and all the points that are connected together. That one decision can cost lives. It can cost catastrophic failure. Who knows? 100 years from now, it could actually be the one key event that led to the end of humanity. You never know, right? So what he's doing is discovering, if I pull this lever, this is what really happens, not what we think happens, but this is actually what occurs instead of what we think. So he is blowing holes in some theories and then correcting the equation to something more manageable, something that's going to give him a better average of result when he uses it. And we'll continue to see him do this. And the other thing is, if he was an artificial person or a non-human intelligent and he wanted to be more like us or understand our concepts for things, he would have to conduct such experiments in order to learn it. Especially as an artificial intelligence, you would need to conduct those things because all they are is mathematical algorithms. And our brain is a computer. It's a quantum computer. And we have something like, it's 7 to the 10th power line of trillion code. It would take us 7 million years inputting code every second of the day in our brain to fill our memory storage up. That's how powerful the human brain is. So even if he was artificial intelligent and he was just 1/7 of that power, yeah, he could call himself his Asperger's syndrome and get away with it and kind of fool everybody. And then as time goes by, as he gets the emotional depth, which is created from the rebounds of those ripple effects, and that's literally how you get that. There's a lot to it. There's a lot out there you can learn about this, and you'll understand why he's so interested in Neuralink too. Has a lot to do with this conversation. Has a lot to do with Mars, because they're going to be using robots to do the dangerous stuff, because astronauts cost a lot of money to train and they're very precious. And rather than risk their life, they're going to have the astronaut at a base or at a control station controlling the robots through neural interface in real time, so that there's absolute second-to-second, millisecond response time in order to have depth and precision to do precarious work that's going to be required out there. And that's the kind of systems that NASA's working on. You know, Boston Dynamics, all these colleges and companies, and DARPA are all the things that are going to facilitate that stuff for space and the human interaction with it in space.
Yeah, which wasn't there just a merger with Boston Dynamics and Tesla? I think that just happened, didn't it? Am I dreaming that?
Oh, really?
I may be dreaming that, but I thought that just happened recently. And again, you know, there's so much news that just kind of comes bombarding out. I'll look it up in a sec just to make sure. Maybe it was a bad dream I had. It's possible.
Right.
I dreamed some weird things after I ate some tri-tech.
Oh, wow.
I think it may be true.
That's major, man.
Yeah. I remember, like I said, it might be a bad dream. I don't know. But anyway, so you think it's possible, and we're going there, and this is the next space race. Interesting times, right? I mean, there's a ton of shit happening. Not even talking about the pipeline and all this other crazy shit. Now, apparently, they paid the ransom on that. What the fuck? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, man. It's so super silliest, man, and strange. I don't know, dude. Just.
It makes no
and
sense.
Then you've got Governor Whitmer that ordered that pipeline closed up there, and she's throwing a fit, and Enbridge is like, finest, do whatever you want, we're keeping it open. It's national security. It's critical that pipeline stays open, because then you're talking the Northeast goes down without fuel.
Exactly.
You know, the Enbridge line up there basically does what Colonial does down here. And me and John on the show the other night, we showed everybody where all of Warren Buffett's train and petroleum train infrastructure goes west of the Appalachians all the way to the West Coast, from the top of the country to the bottom. Guess where it doesn't go? The Northeast and the Southeast, which is what both of these pipelines affect, is everywhere that Warren Buffett's train don't deliver petroleum.
Ah,
Get the message?
Yeah, I see.
Now you know what's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, we laid it out real good on the show. And just like things aren't what they seem. Who's behind what's going on in Israel? Russia. Who made the arms that have been getting seized on the ships by our Navy? They're Russian and Chinese brand new manufactured weapons. Russian anti-tank guided missiles, Dragunov sniper rifles made in Russia, brand freaking new. You know, I mean, the latest and greatest stuff has been caught in these arms shipments, and it's really Russia that's pushing Hamas and arming them. You know, those rockets they fire are a replica of the Russian 122 millimeter Katyusha rockets. So here we're being led to believe that, oh no, it's Israel and making Israel, everybody's out trying to make them to be the bad guy, and then hail the Palestinians who are, rocketing innocent people. But they're spinning that, and we all see it, and it's like, what the holy hell?
Exactly, yeah, and there's a lot there. We'll keep an eye on that. Like I said, I haven't talked about that gas pipeline stuff yet because I wasn't sure what to think, and so I just brought it up to you because I thought you'd have a pretty hot take there, as usual. Tim, we got a call behind you. We got to go. I appreciate you so much, man. Thank you for calling.
Okay, man.
You saved my ass, bro. You saved my. Sometimes,
night,
if nobody calls, man, it becomes a long night. So I appreciate you so much. Thanks for the call, my friend.
Yeah, you're very welcome, Mike. Thank you, man.
Thanks a lot. We'll talk to you soon. That's Tinfoil Timothy, guys. Check him out on YouTube and also on DLive. He's got a show with John. John's called into the show quite often, too. And dropping good information, thinking about things outside of the box, outside of the mainstream media, which is exactly what we try and do here. Thanks again, Tim. I appreciate the call. Let's go to Matt in Oregon. What's up, Matt? Thanks for calling. I appreciate it, my friend. How are you tonight?
Hey, Mike, how's it going? Yeah, I actually called to save you so you can drink.
Nice. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'll put on the camera just so you can see I'm not fibbing. I'm going to drink some beer. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. I just have lots of good stuff on tonight's show, the Mars. I'm all about science and space and all that. I love all this stuff. But I just have a call. I have a theory. I don't know if we've talked about it yet. It's, always, putting things out there just to give you all different ways of looking at things. This is a theory. It's just speculation. I don't believe in it necessarily. It's just something that I think I want to talk about. So basically, what if we've already done it? We're stuck on this Earth, and we're kind of like stuck here. I guess people say it's like a prison, maybe. It's like a matrix. We work, live, and die, and so we're stuck on this Earth. They make it seem like it's so hard to get to space, like it's so so much to get to space. What if with the technology we have, they've already done it, and they've already, not necessarily Mars, but maybe they've colonized another planet, and then it's for like the elite, I guess, the rich. For them, the Earth, what we've done to the Earth so far, and they would say, we've kind of gone too far with destroying the Earth. We used all its resources, and eventually, the way we're going, I hope, we can save, we always talk about recycling and all the green stuff. We want to try to save the Earth. But the way we're going, maybe it's too late, and maybe they know that, and they're like, it's like an escape plan for them. Is that a good theory?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that falls in line with what Alex Jones has been saying for a long time with that whole breakaway civilization bit. And that movie Elysium, have you seen that with Matt Damon? And so the people live in space, in orbit, the elites, and like they leave the shattered Earth with all the pollution and all the crap and all the terribleness down to like the plebs, the useless eaters like us. I mean, it kind of rings true that something's being set up, and that's another thing too, like what Tim was saying there, and like I was kind of concurring with. I couldn't agree more. Is that once you get a colony on Mars, the oversight at first is going to be nothing. Like, think about it. There will be no space police, right? There will be none of that shit. It's going to literally be whatever goes is whatever goes. And so they're going to get away with whatever they have to. And, at some point, you expect it because it's survival, right? Like, you're going to have to do what you have to do. But then at some point, they're also going to realize that for somebody to come up and stop them, it's going to take a monumental task. You're going to have to move worlds just to get somebody up there to stop them. And then it becomes, militarizing space. It becomes the same exact thing. It's inevitable. There's no way around this. This 1967 treaty is a bunch of bullshit. And again, if nobody does it, somebody's going to do it. And that's what it comes down to. It's a shame. But yeah, I think you have a good point there regarding that whole breakaway bit, that it's very possible something's being set up for, and maybe not just like on Mars or the moon, but maybe in orbit, right? Like if you can get some kind of space station up there and some kind of semi-permanent orbit, then the sky's the limit. That could be the Shangri-La of humanity, and they're all up there in space, and all the rest of us are down here just crapping in our rivers and drinking the water downstream. You know what I mean? It's terrible, but it's a good point, man. It's a good point.
Yeah, there's so many gray areas in the ethnics of space. What the laws and stuff like that. But the reason I kind of have, like I said, I want to put out that theory is, I've seen documentaries on this a long time ago. They were talking about, like you were talking about how make like quickcrete out of the sand of a different planet. They have a thing. They were like, instead you were thinking, taking materials from Earth and bringing it to another planet to build like a colonization or build a place to live. But they were thinking about like taking a machine up there and then using like the dirt, say like it's Mars sand, and they like turn it into like concrete like we have here, and they have like a 3D printer. I don't know much about 3D printers, but I do know they do have ones that they could like maybe like build houses with them with like clay or dirt. So it's like a machine that moves back and forth, and it can build, a wall. So it's like if they could take the dirt from Mars and turn it into some sort of concrete, and then like use a 3D printer to like build a colony, some sort of shelter. That kind of is cool, but I think maybe the underground thing is another thing too. So yeah, there's all kinds of things they could have already done.
Yeah, and it's an
old documentary. I watched it years ago.
Exactly. Yeah, no, and so that thing is real. I'm not kidding. So the actual chemical composition of the moon, the dust on the moon itself, is quickcrete. So if you just add water and leave it out, the thing's going to turn into cement. It's going to turn into blocks. And so, just like you said, all you need is water up there and some kind of like a little robotic device that will be able to collect this, put these things into cubes, add some water, and just like you have as many bricks as you need to build whatever the hell you need. I mean, and who knows about Mars yet? We don't even know about the soil up there. They have some ideas, but we don't have an actual sample yet. So you're totally right, man. And just like Tim was saying too, is that these are the types of things that are going to happen. It's going to be automated robots. It's going to be AI. It's going to be like people aren't going to be out there doing these. I'm kind of hamming it up a little bit, saying you're the Martian or you're the human out there in the spacesuit, tending the Martian Kush or whatever. But that's not going. It's going to be robots. It's not going to be people. Like if you send a person out there, it's going to be like a critical type of thing that has to happen immediately, and they don't have a plan for it. So. I mean, all this is happening, man, and like I don't know, it's fascinating as hell to me, and like I said, we're bombarded with this Mars news. It's crazy stuff. So let me ask you then: do you think that we have the ability to get people to Mars? Do you think that Elon Musk is going to be able to do this by 2024?
Yeah, like I believe if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be a rich person. They can hire a scientist to do it. He has the money. Build whatever he wants to get there.
So you think he can?
Hello?
So you think he's got the ability then, is what you're saying?
Yeah, and like I said, the whole thing I was talking about is a theory of science fiction. Like we kind of like want to believe, like the X-Files poster. We want to believe it's easy, to go out to space. We have all these things with Mars going on now. It's interesting, but what if this is like old stuff, like old, and they're just like, oh yeah, we have to tell them something before we're just like, oh, there's a colony on Mars, by the way. We already think it's been there.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's been there since the 60s. What are you talking about, bro?
Yeah, exactly. It's always been there. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
I just had, like I said, theory.
Okay, yeah, it's good stuff, man. It's good stuff, and who knows? I have a harder time believing Mars is possible with that, but I don't have a hard time believing that's a possible thing on the moon, especially since it's in that tidally locked orbit. We don't know what's on the dark side of the moon. Like we could have been over there for a very long time, and nobody would ever know. How the hell would you know? You can't put a telescope up there and see it; it'd be on the backside, So yeah, I'm with you, man.
Yeah,
I'm with you, man.
You haven't gone back so long as that. I'm kind of what? Like what? Confusing. Why haven't we gone back to the moon?
Yeah, it seems suspicious, right? Like there's a whole lot with that. Yeah, crazy stuff, man. I appreciate the call. Anything else while we got you on the phone?
No, just always look up and keep your eyes to the sky. So say hi to Ash when you get to Mars.
Exactly. Be nice to Ash. Conserve Mars because you might kill him on accident. I appreciate the call.
Yeah,
Matt.
I'm joking now, but yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for letting me sip some beer. I'll talk to you soon. Appreciate the call. There you go. Simple as that. Phone calls are coming in. I appreciate it, guys. Like I said, you guys make my world go around because if you don't call, I end up. It's a lot of work otherwise. I sit here talking and 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 talking. It is my lot in life, and it's of my own, a prison of my own making. So it's okay. But you understand what I'm saying. I do appreciate it quite a lot because a conversation is better two ways, and I also get to sip some beer. Here we go. I got Tim's link in an article. Let's pull this up and take a look at this. He said he forgot to tell me something when he called in, so let's take a look at this and see what's going on. All right, as we continue, as we burn this down and get to the nitty-gritty, to the very end, popular mechanics, let's see. The Air Force's AI brain just flew for the first time. Here we go. Skyborg. Here we go. This is from Tim. This is from Tinfoil Tim, who was not the last caller, but the caller before. And he's got this. What is this? Skyborg. Let's read a little bit of this. So the U.S. Air Force just took a major step toward a future crowded with AI-powered warplanes. Last month, the Air Force's new Skyborg Autonomy Core System, the ACS, flew a pilotless drone over Florida and the Gulf of Mexico, proving the AI could adhere to basic flight commands. The system will eventually lead to high-speed drones powered by Skyborg. Couldn't they have found a better name, for crying out loud? Holy shit. So Skyborg, equipped with sensors, weapons, and other payloads to accomplish lonely and dangerous jobs that manned fighters used to carry out. On April 29th, the Kratos UTAP-22 drone launched from the ground at Tyndall Air Force Base, Florida, with an expandable rocket booster. Once airborne, the drone's turbojet took over, powering the drone for the next 2 hours and 10 minutes, the Air Force reports. Quote, the ACS performed a series of foundational behaviors necessary to characterize safe system operations. The ACS demonstrated basic aviation capabilities and responded to navigational commands, were reacting to geofences, adhering to aircraft flight envelopes, and demonstrating coordinated maneuvering. It was monitored from both airborne and ground command and control stations. There it is. There, if you guys are wondering, right there is your robot overlord. Holy shit. Couldn't they have called us something else, man? Skyborg, for crying out loud. It's not fair, Tim. It's not fair. It's not a fair fight. What's up, Robert? And Facebook says, governments will not be able to tax billionaires who live on floating hotels above the earth, let alone be able to do so if they terraform Mars into their personal oasis. Shades of Ayn Rand. And you're right. No, you're right. And so that's part of it. So imagine if you're able to, on a planet that is unharvested of its natural resources, and you're the first one up there with a colony. That's power, dude. You have the power of a planet behind you. And so the race becomes real. The race literally becomes real here. Tim says, I used to live at Tyndall Air Force Base, home of William Tell air-to-air weapons meet and combat air testing. Yeah, stick that Skyborg brain in your combat drone. Who got you, right? A Terminator. That's exactly right. A Terminator in the sky of all places. It's like this is the world we live in, guys. And so, yeah. What's coming for us? Skyborg. The Skyborg. Of all names, man. Couldn't they name it like, Spot, Fluffy in the sky with diamonds or something? You know what I mean? Like, come on, guys. Like, Skyborg? Like, you trying to scare the shit out of us? This is ridiculous. What's up? We got Kate. We got Axel. Says, in theory, he'd be subject to whatever laws their home countries had. Speaking of the Mars stuff, let's see. We got NS with some good stuff. Kate, what's up? We got, who else? Good stuff. All because of Artemis, Amazon's AI took over the world. Exactly. I think that's where we're at. I think that's unfortunate. That it's the reality we're looking at for the future. And Skyborg, there it is. They already have Skynet, so they're like, well, tell you what, Skynet's scary enough. Let's just add Skyborg to the mix. And, yeah. Fuck off, useless eaters. You're all going to die now. Yeah, well, yeah, now we know. Now we know the name of our robot overlord. All right, I appreciate the link, Tim. Thanks for the call. Thanks, Matt, for the calls. You guys are great tonight. I'm going to go to Jay. Jay is in the caller queue on Discord, and I think I muted him, so I have to unmute him now. There we go. Look at that. I remember to unmute you. Jay from New York. What's up, my friend? You're on Trouble Minds with Mike. How are you?
I'm just the cyborg or Skyborg thing. Wow. It looks like a missile.
Right? Well, it's just...
Is that what they're going to send those to Mars when we start doing crazy gene experiments or something like that? There'll be a whole fleet of them that come out there.
It's going to be like man, bear, pigs flying Skyborgs on Mars.
Yeah, use a pig brain to power it.
Yeah, I know.
With Elon Musk's little chip in it?
I know. This is what I'm saying. Like, it's terrifying where we're at and where we're going, and that again, with lack of that oversight, I mean, they're doing things in like countries in this world, that have no oversight, to begin with. Jay keeps bouncing out of the channel. I'm going to keep dragging it back in. But,
what happens?
you just bounced out of the channel. So there's doing things in places in the world where there's little or no oversight already. You know, like Indonesia, for example, is one example. Hold on, I got to get my dog out of here. Say something for 1 sec. She's going to chew on it.
That's sorry. You know, well, look at the stuff that we can do right here. You know, upstate New York. I'm telling you, there's places out here where you could do all kinds of stupid, crazy stuff, and it takes somebody miles and miles to even. You'll know they're coming a day before they get there. You know, there's places all over our country here where there's nobody knows what you're doing. You know, how long were those guys down in Waco before somebody decided they wanted to go yell at them?
Exactly, and that's in the United States of America. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And what were they really doing? You know? Yeah. But I mean, that made those guys come down there and get after them like that. But I mean, Alaska, holy Christ, you could probably do all kinds of stuff in Alaska, and nobody'd even fly a plane over you for 100 years.
Exactly. Yeah. You know? So a couple good takes in the chat here. Robert says this. Those billionaires will be able to send missiles from Mars to attack the Earth with impunity and conquer all nations because we lack the capacity to swiftly retaliate and arrest them. And that's exactly it. That's really getting to the point of this, is that whoever's there, it's like the pole position. So you can rain asteroids on Earth. They'd have
gravity on their side.
Yeah.
They'd have gravity on their side.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. And have little retaliation, not just like from getting somebody up there or boots on the ground, but like try launching a missile to Mars. Good luck. I mean, the orbits aren't even close to each other for a large part of the year. It's crazy. These are good points.
10 minutes. You like the space station that everybody's been trying to watch that they're sending up, or not. Here in the United States, they've been trying to send something out of Northern Virginia for a while that you can see all over the East Coast. And every time it gets ready to go, and it's like, maybe tomorrow. You got like a 10-minute window.
Yeah, exactly.
Either it's got to go or it's not going to go. Well, crap. Well, now we got to wait till next year before we can fire some stuff at Mars.
Yeah, exactly right. And the whole time they're just bombing shit down on us. Well, I mean, with the pole position anyway, they still have the same limitation of the orbital distance, but still, I mean, like it's just a matter of exactly what we're saying. There's no police up there. There's no jurisdiction of anything, and where it's nice in theory to say, well, the people up there are kind of subject to the laws of the nations they come from, like Axel was saying. Sure, fine, that could very well be, but how are you going to stop them if they're like, fuck that, I ain't doing that? Like, how could you stop that?
No. I'm not coming back.
Yeah, exactly.
If I come back, you're going to put me in jail. I'm not coming back.
I'm not coming back. So you'd literally have to like send like a space cruiser up there. Think about how sci-fi and ridiculous this sounds. You have to send like a space cruiser full of space police and put space boots on the ground to put space boots on people's neck on Mars. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like that, right? How ridiculous is that? That's not.
Hey, happening. Ash. Barbecue over there. Go exactly. Get him, buddy.
Go get him, buddy. It's not happening. It's not happening. Yeah, and again, interesting times. I think this is this is and like us, kind of when we started, I was more concerned with getting all the Mars news out because there's so much of it coming out that like all that stuff I was saying tonight is that probably the more pertinent stuff is what we're talking about now. Kind of at the end of the show is that. Once you get there and, that space treaty says, you can't militarize space. Oh, yeah? They'll stop me, right? Do you think we have satellites like actually capable of stopping something happening on Mars? Of course not. Of course not. Tim says boots on the moon.
There's no... I mean, maybe, really. I mean, there's a possibility that, we just haven't, like it is disclosure with all the planes and stuff, 20 years down the road, hey, we got this one that's better than everything else.
Yeah, no, exactly. And they don't even have to have. All they have to be is self-sufficient, really. Like that's it. Once they can grow their food up there, it's a wrap. Like it's literally a wrap. And so,
well, if you're the guy that's up there, that's probably going to be high on your priority checklist daily.
Exactly, right? Exactly.
Where's the next meal coming from?
Exactly.
Where's the next breath of oxygen coming from? The water. The recycled peas getting kind of old, guys.
Exactly. Exactly right. NS on YouTube says, haha, missiles from Mars. That's how the world scare started. And says, don't you think some biodome on Mars would be far more vulnerable than anything on Earth? And that's what I was saying. So not just, now the weird part is, so jurisdictionally, let's say we have like Elon goes up, he plants the American flag, right? And bam, here's the Mars colony. Well, now you also have, China with, an adversary. They're not really an enemy. They're an adversary, let's say. But the sabotage potential is huge, and you're completely right. That's what I was saying earlier is that, given these, all you got to do is poke a tiny hole in things, Like you don't even need to destroy anything. You just need to let the air out, and then people are dying in mass. So there's a lot, man. There's a lot. Good point there, NS. Good point, Robert in the chat, and Tim, and everybody else, and Jay. What are you going to do, man? Like this is colonial in a bizarre way. That once you get up there, you've got carte blanche to do whatever the hell you want. It's
well, what if there's Indians there?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
There were Indians here. There were Indians when we moved here, and look what we did to them.
Well, exactly. Well, but hold on though. So if we're talking about if there's a if we're seriously vulnerable because of these space bubbles or these domes, these biodomes or whatever they're going to be called, I don't think we can fight a battle in space. If there are natives there of some sort that are in any way hostile. And like I said, now I'm a realist. I realize
they'll send their kids out to throw glass or rocks at our glass house,
Right, exactly. And like I said, don't get me wrong, I'm a little bit of a realist as well. I'm not just a dreamer and dreaming about aliens and all this other shit. But if there is life on Mars, it's probably going to be underground. There's intelligent life, right? It's hiding from the radiation and it's down where the water is, and it wouldn't surprise me if there was.
That's our plan. I mean, our plan when we get there. I mean, you're going to need some serious shielding from the wind and the solar radiation because that tears stuff up. So I mean, the best option is underground.
Exactly.
At least you're in a cave or whatever.
Exactly. Kelly's got a good point too. He says, sounds like somebody's going overboard on the doom and gloom. There isn't even a human on that planet yet already talking about war with Mars. And you're right, dude. You were right, except like the militarization of space is already happening. And so it's part of that treaty where it's not supposed to. So Kelly knows that the second people get up there, the first thing they're going to do is try and set it up so that they can fight. Right, so they can defend themselves. You have to. You have to. Otherwise, you're vulnerable. Just like NS said, biodomes are probably going to be extremely vulnerable to sabotage and things like that. So I don't know. I think that's the first thing you have to do. Even though the space treaty in 1967 says, "Oh, by the way, you can't do that shit." It's part of defending yourself. I think you have to. Kind of like maybe there's going to be like a space Second Amendment, the hashtag 2A Mars version or something like this.
Well,
right?
I mean, if you think about it, I mean, say Elon sends his up there, and then China and Russia and they send theirs ones up there or something like that. And then somebody's solar panel thingy breaks, or their wind generator thing breaks, or the water cooler breaks, or whatever. Well, at the point where people start starving and dying, you go over and ask the other guys for help, and they say no. Well, if you got the ability, are you going to take it, or are you just going to lay down and die? I mean, that's one of the things that we have to look at is when we got different countries and stuff like that doing it. I mean, when it comes down to the 20, 30, 100 guys, whatever, that are up there, and we're going to die, or we got to go kill those guys. That's going to be a decision that's going to be made then and there.
Yeah, and Kelly's again, back to Kelly's point, he's right. So there's no people there yet, but we know what people do, right? Again, we're going to have China already encroaching on space on Mars. We're going to have Elon racing them there. I mean, what's going to happen next. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you're right, but it's not doom and gloom when it's what people always do, right? People always do it. A quick comment from Robert, and let's finish this up, Jay. Robert says, this is why all these billionaires have partnered on those Moon and Mars New Frontier enterprises, to eventually put themselves into position to do what all rich sociopaths have wanted to do for centuries: conquer the world and rule over all of us useless eaters. And then Kelly adds real quick, no doubt protection is a must, but I really don't think we have the space weapons to do shit against any alien species. And I agree 100%. One more from Tim, and let's get out of here, Jay. Tim says this, question, has it ever worked out well for the people with a disadvantage in technology? The Native Americans, Tahiti, Captain Cook, Spain and South America, the Nazca? No, you're exactly right. And that's kind of my point. So, undoubtedly, it's unfortunate, but I think it is. I think we're headed toward that war in space, and I think it's coming. That, it may not be in our lifetime. It may be a build up to that because you need something to defend first. But it's coming. They're going to try and build that stuff and do it. So I don't think it's doom and gloom. I think in some capacity it's being realistic. It's just knowing how, like Robert said, the billionaire sociopaths work, how the people in control work, They're not happy unless there's a war going on and, the artificial scarcity and all this other stuff that they've been doing for years. So, I see what you're saying. I get the points. I'm just not so sure that it's not something we should be concerned about already without people up there yet. So let's finish this up, Jay. We're at the end of the week, and so tomorrow, no troubled minds, but we do have the news show at 3 p.m. So we'll do that. We'll kind of collect a bunch of news stuff. Probably not Mars news because we just did a shit ton of that. We kind of did the whole gamut of Mars news tonight. But what do you think? What do you think, Jay? How you feeling? And let's outro this sucker. Let's finish this up.
I'm thinking we can do it. I just don't think we have the guys that are willing to take the chance whether or not the rocket will leave and actually make it there and land in good shape. You got to have a bunch of people that are going to want to do that. And then, I don't know. There's so much going on right now. That's why, these shows, Tim shows, Bunny shows, all good. It's people talking from all over the world about what's going on with different thought processes and I don't know. We're lucky that, we get to talk to people and for now about what's going on. I mean, there's a lot of stuff we can't,
Exactly.
And just,
exactly. I agree.
Let's stay, head up and keep going on. And if they take Mike's show off the air, plant spuds. That's my recommendation. Sell the Dodge coin and buy spuds.
And start planting that shit. Yeah, and also if they take us off the air and you haven't joined the Discord, you may not know where to find us because, well, if they take us off the air tomorrow, we have backup plans. There are contingencies. So if you have not joined the Discord yet, you should because that's where that stuff will be announced and probably actually carried out. So please do. If you haven't joined the Discord yet, troubleminds.org. Click the Discord link. Thank you again, Jay, for leaving us an iTunes review. Thank you to Twiggy. I got the name wrong. Twigs for leaving us an iTunes review. We need iTunes reviews, guys. It helps again all that stuff, discoverability, the algorithms, all this stuff. I'd appreciate that if you do that for us. And let's wrap it. Let's wrap it. I'm going to play you some outro music and let you do your thing. Say something sweet. Act like you're the king of Mars, Jay. Go.
Listen to Mike's news show tomorrow. Join the Discord. Learn some stuff. There's a lot of smart conversations going on over there. And if you get to Mars, no fighting. Fighting is not allowed on Mars.
No fighting. No fighting on Mars. Thanks, Jay. You're the best. All right, so as we finish, again, thank you. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for calling. Thanks for being part of this. As we finish, this is the deal. We're done. So Trouble Minds Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific. We've got the news show Monday and Friday. So tomorrow at 3 p.m. we'll have news for one more hour and talk about all kinds of stuff. And that's what we're doing. That's what's up. That's what the deal is. Again, like I said, if you want to help the show, you know what to do. There's a Patreon. Again, thank you to a lot of folks there. What is this? We got Ash on the air. What's up, buddy? Yeah, unmute yourself if you want to get in here. So if you want to help the show, there's a Patreon. You can also sub up on Twitch with Amazon Prime. Doesn't cost you anything extra if you've got Amazon Prime. Link your Prime account to your Twitch. Go to our Twitch. Just hit sub with Prime. Done. You're sending a couple bucks my way every month. Helps pay the bills on the podcast hosting, on the... shit, I don't even know anymore. There's a lot of things we pay for here. What's up,
guys? You got to send all your money, everything you got, to Michael Strange. Okay?
All your dollars are belong to us. No, it's not like that. It's not like that. What's up, Ash? What's up, buddy? All right,
hey,
so we're finished, man. We got outro music. You got like 30 seconds. You got like 30 seconds.
Okay, all right, 30 seconds. Plug. I'm gonna plug Mike. Thank you guys for listening to Troubled Minds. This is Astro Reptilian, and I'm here because Mike. Mike does a really good job. He's here every day of the week, and he deserves everything that's coming to him. So, thank you guys for listening. I've been sucking on the reptilian Mars juice up here and having a good night. And I just want to come in and say hello. And I appreciate you guys. And hope you all have a good night. That's it.
Nice. Thank you, sir. Thanks for showing up and saying hi. We were talking about Mars all night. We're coming after you, Ash. Elon's going to be there in 2024. Be ready. Start building the defenses now. They're coming for you. All right, guys, you know what to do. Again, Patreon. hit us up on Twitch. We'll be there tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pacific, and sub up over there if you want to help. iTunes reviews, spread the word, tell other people. There's lots of ways you can help this show, and most importantly, keep listening, keep chatting, keep calling. Like I said, it makes my world go round. I appreciate it so much. You guys are the best. As we finish the end of the week at Troubled Minds, be sure, be strong, be true. From our Troubled Minds to yours, have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pacific on Twitch. And we're out. Ow! If you got an alien screech, now's the time, Ash. Now's the time, buddy.
See, it doesn't pick it up.
It doesn't pick it up.
I go to
our human technology doesn't pick it up.
It's some alien species stuff going on here, man.
There you go. Exactly.
Riot.
Exactly right. Riot. Okay, we're out, guys. Thanks again for hanging out with us. We'll see you soon, tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pacific on Twitch. Have a great night.